Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday. Hope you all had a wonderful, familial, safe, and savory Thanksgiving as we get back to work on this first day of December. Can you believe it? The countdown to Christmas is on like Donkey Kong. We got a busy show, an exciting show. Just a couple of minutes, we'll be talking with the leading gubernatorial candidate in the most recent UC Berkeley poll. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco will join us, along with our very own sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network. He is leading the pack. Mr. Bianco is over Katie Porter and Steve Hilton, another Republican, who is third, but we have not seen any polls since Congressman Eric Swalwell threw his hat in the ring. We'll talk about that. We've got more information on the two National Guardsmen who were shot. One passed away over the holidays. Another one is fighting for his life. We'll get into that as well. Pete Hegseth has stepped into it again with this Venezuelan shootings. Some folks are calling it a war crime. We'll talk about that. Kathy Abernathy will be here at 4 o'clock. And the most hated man in sports is Chris Burdick.
That'd be Mr. Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. The kids lined up at the airport to boo him. Did you see the video?
Oh, yeah.
He's getting on a private jet.
I don't blame him. I would too.
Oh, I don't get the whole thing. I really don't. I just, why you would hire this guy, why he thought he could take another job and still coach Ole Miss through the playoffs. And Nick Saban agreed with him. Thinks that he should have been able to continue to coach Ole Miss. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Lane Kiffin, who once coached for us, he's coached everywhere. He was an offensive coordinator at SC. Then I think he went to Tennessee. He, according to reporters at the Tennessean, the Nashville newspaper, devastated the Tennessee football program like no other. Then he went back to SC as a head coach. Then he went to disgrace them. Remember that? Where Pat Hayden, former SC quarterback, former Ram quarterback, and the athletic director at the time, either fired him as he was getting on the plane or wouldn't let him get on the plane home. It was an away game. Or they fired him when he got off the plane. It was something like that. A plane was involved.
Yeah, I think it was actually getting on the plane.
Yeah,
I think
where they told him,
like,
as soon as we land,
as
soon as we land, get your stuff and get the hell off the campus.
Yeah.
He's just a hated despite. And you remember what Al Davis said about him when he came and coached for us, a lying, no good snake that you can't trust. Then he went down to Alabama as Saban's offense coordinator. Then he went to FAU. And then finally ended up at Ole Miss and has got these kids as close to a national championship as Ole Miss has been since Archie Manning, not Eli Manning, although they did kind of sniff it with Eli. No, I think you got to go all the way back to Archie Manning as in terms of how successful he's gotten this program. Because he's obviously a good coach, but 7 years, $91 million.
See, that's what I didn't understand.
You gotta be kidding me. He gets all his the bonuses that he would have gotten from Ole Miss in taking them into the playoffs, he will now get at LSU. That's part of the contract.
Yeah.
He's a good coach, but he ain't that good.
Well,
and it's 7 years and $13 million a year. And this guy just betrayed everything. You gotta understand how college recruiting works. These people literally go into a family's living room, sits down with the mother and the father, because they can convince the kid. It's the parents you have to convince. And they tell these parents, I'm going to look after your boy. I'm going to make sure he gets his degree. make sure he goes to class, that he's an upstanding student, and I'm going to teach him the finer things of offensive football, and I could probably get him into the NFL. And then you get these kids close to playoff time, and you just walk away. You just walk away, just like he did at Tennessee. He's just a disgusting, horrible human being who doesn't deserve the love he's getting. Just doesn't.
No, two things with this that have been bugging me. One, with the entire thing with Governor Landry coming out with the Brian Kelly firing and how much of a big deal he made about how much Brian Kelly was making, and now you're going to pay Lane Kiffin even more money than that. I found that kind of be a little bit weird.
Well, I mean, that's just business.
Well, again, they made it seem, though, that they weren't going to be doing that anymore, that they were going to go a completely different route, and obviously that didn't matter to them that much.
No, they wanted Lane Kiffin. That's why I don't understand why he couldn't have said, all right, I'll come, but we've got to keep this. I got to coach this team. I got to get through this. We cannot announce this until after the playoffs, or the NCAA should step in. That's really who's at fault. The NCAA should step in, because what else is he going to do if he stayed on these last couple of months? He's going to do what he just did, and that is give an ultimatum to his coaching staff that you're either on the plane with me to Louisiana or you ain't going to be on the staff.
And that was the second point I was going to make. That's just low.
Charlie Weiss Jr., Charlie Weiss's kid, got booed at the airport. He's just a despicable human being. He really is. Plus, we'll talk a little football when we get into the 5 o'clock hours. A weird weekend of football, a great weekend of football. God, how does Denver keep doing it? God, they drive me nuts. Ertz should have caught that ball. They made and Mariota should have thrown just a little bit higher to get the 2-point conversion. Come on, Marcus. That's an easy throw. He was wide open. He would have walked in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Commanders took the Broncos to OT, and Broncos scored a quick touchdown to start the game, start the OT, and then the Commanders somehow, with penalties and other things, somehow scored. And, what are they, 3-9 or whatever? So they go for 2. The kid's wide open, and it gets knocked down by the linebackers blitzing, because Marcus didn't put a little Marcus Mariota, former Raider. But we begin with the new news on the National Guardsmen. We found out, and I told you we didn't know the sex of either of the guardsmen. It was almost assumed that they were both males, and that was not the case, as I'm sure you've figured out by now. Sarah Beckman, a 20-year-old Army specialist, died on Thanksgiving Day of her wounds. And, she was shot in the head from point-blank range. It's 2025, it's a miracle that they were able to keep her alive as long as they did. And it's like Bobby Kennedy, when he was shot at point blank range, he stayed alive for about a day or two. You can keep the body alive for a while. The brain doesn't necessarily, it's the heart, obviously, that dominates your health and your body and your living condition. But, we knew, I think everybody knew, this girl was not going to survive. Meantime, Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is still clinging to life. But there was good news, and we got this from West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey. I was almost reluctant to play this audio, because this is the same man who ran to the podium the day of the shooting to be first, I guess. I don't know whether this guy's an ex-news guy or ex-journalist or what, but he irresponsibly went and told the nation that both these kids were dead when that was not the truth. But nevertheless, here is West Virginia.
No. You never sent me the rundown today, so I don't have the audio. I'm going to have to get that from you.
Oh, I didn't send you the rundown?
I'll get it for you right after the break.
Damn.
It won't take me long.
I thought I had something wrong with my phone, because I know I did, and I just didn't check the picture.
It's probably just an email.
God dang it.
I was like, I got your 2 audio pieces from Lane Kiffin and from your
Jasmine Crockett, the cartoon character. I'd like to play that right now if you want to know the truth, but we got to talk about Pete Hegseth when we come back. Maybe we can get Morrissey in the meantime, but when we come back, Pete Hegseth is once again, I know you guys probably disagree with me on my opinion of Donald Trump's cabinet. I think they're all a bunch of buffoons that are not qualified for their positions. If I'm wrong, why is Pete Hegseth in the news so constantly? The defense secretary should only be in the news when we are in conflict. Hegseth has to deny doing or saying something every couple of months. Every couple of months. And the Washington Post is standing by their story. And I'm sorry, I know about liberal media, but I believe the Washington Post, two very good reporters with two very good sources that claim that Hegseth gave the order that some are calling a war crime. We'll get into that when we come back. And don't forget, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco at the bottom of the hour, just a matter of minutes, along with Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty Show, the big climate conference wrapping up in Brazil. Those poor people.
Oh, God, love you.
Why we're not paying
I
attention
was
to
just
them
headed
anymore.
that
And
way.
did Pete Hegseth order the bombing of those two people clinging to the boat? Did that actually happen? I'm sure we'll have more details by the next Armstrong and Getty Show. As a matter of fact, we'll bring you up to speed on all the big stories that are out there on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm here with Dr. Tarkesh from Affordable Dentures and Implants. Doc, how does digital dentistry improve the process of getting dental work done?
Digital dentistry is a cutting-edge technology that creates a highly accurate 3D scan of your mouth. It helps make a more precise and efficient treatment. For example, with implants, this can allow us to plan procedure down
that's
to
a
the
whole nother
smallest
can of
detail,
worms.
which in return speed up the process,
Yeah, I'm not
reducing
even
the
gonna get
time
into that.
patients spend in surgery.
And who is a good candidate for the implants?
Almost anyone missing teeth, as long as the patient has enough bone to support the implant or can undergo a bone
Because
graft.
I have no
Implants are
idea
a great option. We always do a
how much
thorough
my
evaluation
prescriptions
to make
cost.
sure the implants are the
Because
best
two, I
solution
have 5
for each
pills.
patient's unique
2, I take
needs.
3
Get
a
the smile
day.
you always wanted without anxiety at Affordable
And
Dentures
so I don't
and
know,
Implants. Dr.
they
Nozar
range from anywhere
Tarkesh
from
specializes
35
in
to
implants with
$10.
IV sedation.
So I don't know.
Visit
I'm
them online
guessing
at
I could've-
affordabledentures.com
Yeah.
or call 831-7230 to schedule your appointment today.
Like if I'm spending
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at radiodirect.com/privacy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Text help for help.
on my
Consult a doctor prior to use.
prescriptions and my
Wow, you
copay,
look
then it's
amazing.
the
What have
smart
you been
play.
doing?
You've heard of
But I'm
Ozempic,
just not
Wegovy, and the
sure.
other GLP-1 medications that are all over
And
the
then,
news, right?
and then
Well, I
doubling
found
what
this
they're
great
taking
company
out of
called
my check
Zelfie.
again.
If you qualify, you can
Every
get
check,
medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1s
$320
at
a
80
month.
to 90% savings without insurance, all 100% online.
Wait, I can get GLP-1
Hi,
medication
Lisa.
for 80 to 90% less and
What
do
I
it all
do?
online? No long wait at the doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, for 80 to 90% less and shipped
Oh, let
direct
me
to your
hear you.
door.
Amazing. How do I get started?
Just send them a text.
Text
You
SLIM
saw
to
my rundown?
797979 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less, 100% online. Don't wait.
Really?
Text SLIM to
It's
797979
over there.
right
Forget
now
it.
for your exclusive offer. Text SLIM to
Congratulations.
797979.
We should throw a
That's
party
SLIM
when
to
you get your mark.
797979.
These statements and
That's
products have
very
not been
cool.
evaluated or approved by the FDA for weight loss.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a
I'm going
Medicare
to Ken
Advantage
Dunbar's
plan from
party
United
Wednesday.
Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Thank you.
United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
For over 50 years, Hard Rock has been where the music lives. Artists play our stages. Their stories line our walls, and guests walk away feeling like stars. We're a global icon built on one timeless ideal: love all, serve all. Introducing Hard Rock Casino to Home. Over 2,000 of the hottest slots, over 60 thrilling table games, and the energy only we can deliver. The sound check is over. Now open. Concerned about your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 426-2537.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Keep on I can only see your face. 842-5376. 842-KERN. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Good. I just got to go hang out with my mom, and we didn't really go anywhere. And then I got to actually, I take that back. I went with JR yesterday to go cover the Raiders at SoFi. So
Did you really?
yeah, it was fun.
And of course, the Raiders lost.
Of course, yeah.
6 in a row. And the only good news is we're in good shape for that first round pick, boy.
Yes, you are.
The Jets won. And as I said last week, this is by far the worst Raider team in the history of the franchise. This team is worse than the Jamarcus Russell team because at least that team had a defense. We have 3 good players. And you know who they are. Bowser, Crosby. You know, I was going to say Carlson, but he's not even reliable anymore. Our field goal kicker, no, I can't include him. Our punter. Those are the 3 best players we have. Our punter, one of our defensive players, and our tight end. Those are the only, and our running back. Number 2. What's his name? Genty.
Yeah.
Only good players on the whole entire squad. No, 45. Who's 45? He used to play for the Buccaneers, went to Michigan.
Oh, Devin White.
Yeah. Devin White is okay. He's okay. His best years are behind him, but he's solid. That's about all we got. It's ridiculous. Meantime, as I mentioned, Pete Hegseth has stepped in it again. The Trump administration has killed close to 80 folks and destroyed something close to 22 Venezuelan ships. I don't have a problem with that. I cheer that. But there are, as crazy as it sounds, and this is a great debate I've had all my life, the rules of war. Like, really? Rules of war? It always reminds me of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. When Butch comes back to his gang, and one of the guy that played Lurch, as a matter of fact, on the Addams Family, has taken over. And he says, well, we'll fight for it. And they're going to have a knife fight. And right before they start, Paul Newman, Butch Cassidy says, wait a minute, let's get the rules straight. And he says, rules? In a knife fight? There are no rules. So he kicks him in the balls and then smacks him and knocks him out. Have you ever examined a war? You know, Sherman was right. William Tecumseh Sherman, who basically burned down the whole state of Georgia to devastate the South and bring the Civil War to an end, said war is hell. So what rules of war? You know what I mean? I mean, of course, I guess there are rules of war, but are there really? We saw it in Vietnam with Lieutenant Cayley, was that his name? The lieutenant who was responsible for killing women and children. There are, I suppose, certain rules, but that has always been confusing to me. Rules of war, really? Okay. Well, the fact of the matter is, the legality of it is that it is against the law. It is illegal once you blow up one of those Venezuelan ships and there are guys hanging on to a raft or wood or doing the Titanic, hanging on to something and just surviving. To blow them up is against the law. And the Washington Post is reporting that Hegseth gave the order, kill them all. Kill them all. He's denying it. And once again, the president's cabinet has got him in a hot spot. So maybe you disagree with me and you think that Hegseth is qualified for a position that he has running the State Department, despite the fact that he was a weekend Fox and Friends host before he got this gig. Yeah, he's a veteran, but that doesn't necessarily make you able to lead 1.3 million soldiers and about 35,000 employees at the Pentagon. And again, like I said at the very top of the show, if I'm wrong, why are these nitwits, Bondi and Hegseth and Kennedy and all these nitwits always in the news? And it's never anything positive. It's always them denying something or trying to get the administration out of trouble. The list is on my desk. What list? It's always something with this cartoon cabinet. whether it's, again, Bondi or the guy with a worm in his brain or Kash Patel giving out information that is incorrect and, doing what the West Virginia governor did. Remember that? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, they're going nowhere with this thing, obviously. He's got deniability, apparently. But there are even top-level Republicans who are looking into this and have issues with this. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Do we have time? We got Bianco.
You got about 3 minutes.
Who you got?
Bob is on the line.
Bob, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Ralph, golly, you got to keep blowing that horn. You know what? If those people aren't doing their job, they're just sitting behind the desk, not doing anything.
Bob, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about what you're talking about. Pete Hegseth and all those people that you think are in the news too much. If they're not doing their job, they would have been slacking off. Now they are doing their job.
He broke the law. If he, in fact, gave an order to kill somebody floating around in the ocean, that is against the law. Do you understand that?
Well, Ralph, but you weren't there and I wasn't there. But if he said, get them all in that boat, after the fact they're hanging on, you weren't there, I wasn't there, and a whole bunch of people.
Okay, let me explain how journalism works. Journalism works is you get people that are in the know to tell you things that they're not supposed to tell you. The Washington Post, and I agree, is a liberal media, but they have two qualified reporters who have two different sources who heard Pete Hegseth say these things. Why would they lie? What motivation would somebody on Pete Hegseth's staff have to lie? If you can't have an intelligent conversation, you're just going to laugh, I got to let you go. Thanks for calling. 842-5376 is our phone number, 842-KERN. I mean, we're all adults. Let's have a conversation. If I'm in the middle of explaining something to you and you laugh, okay, you're dismissed. If you want to discuss it like two grown-ass men, let's go at it. I appreciate a difference of opinion. But if you're going to come on here and giggle like a 12-year-old girl, I ain't got time. I got a gubernatorial candidate coming on the program in just a matter of minutes. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood is going to join us when we talk to the leading gubernatorial candidate, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Can a Republican pull it off in this one-party state of ours? He's leading. He's certainly leading Katie Porter, who has absolutely dismissed herself as a viable candidate. However, things have changed. It wasn't Senator Alex Padilla who jumped in, as I predicted, but controversial Congressman Eric Swalwell. He's got name recognition and a lot of money. We'll talk with Chad Bianco and Sheriff Donnie Youngblood right after these important words.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The son of notorious Mexican drug kingpin El Chapo is pleaded guilty to U.S. drug trafficking charges. He's the second of El Chapo's sons facing similar charges to enter a plea deal. Prosecutors allege Joaquin Guzman Lopez, along with his brother Ovidio Guzman Lopez, known as the Chapitos, or Little Chapos, ran a faction of the Sinaloa cartel that exported fentanyl to the United States. Ukrainian officials met with President Trump's representatives Sunday, and Washington officials are expected in Moscow for more peace talks this week. However, diplomats face an uphill battle to reconcile Russia and Ukraine's red lines as a U.S.-led push to end the war gathers steam. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. The man shot at officers and officers shot back, killing him. That's what California Highway Patrol and Wasco police are saying about an incident this morning where they were chasing that man's vehicle along Highway 99 and used spike strips to stop it at Bear Mountain Road, which is where the shooting happened. The woman who police say left her one-year-old son in a hot car this summer, killing him, may go to trial this week after several delays. The judge has assigned a courtroom for Maya Hernandez. The trial is expected to take several weeks. You are being invited to serve on the Kern County Grand Jury if you have lived here at least a year, are 18, and a U.S. citizen interested in public service. They are taking applications through March 13th. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with the news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me.
3 or 4 times,
it's important to
right
notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
I'm tired of waking up and hearing another case of a DUI. We just had the Madison Williams case where she was found guilty. We have another trial going on where a 6-year-old was killed. Now again, I'm hearing an 8-year-old is dead because of an alleged DUI. Something needs to be done to fix this.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Lots to do on this first day of December. Coming up top of the hour, Kathy Abernathy will join us. And then in the 5, we'll talk a little sports. We'll talk about Lane Kiffin's another infamous departure. This one leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU. $91 million for 7 years for this guy who has destroyed every program that he's ever been a part of. As we talked about with Mark DiCamillo, the head of the UC Berkeley Institute of Government, in his poll, our next guest, the Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, is the leading candidate for governor, and he is joined by our very own Sheriff, Donnie Youngblood. Sheriff Youngblood, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ralph, how are you?
Always good to talk to you, sir. And Mr. Bianco, welcome to the program. We appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be able to be here, especially with both of you.
Yeah. We begin, as I do, with with every candidate that I talk with, the very first question: why are you running for governor?
Well, we all know all we have to do is walk outside. We know that California is broken. And it's not just broken to where things are going wrong. It's almost an emergency, a catastrophe in every different realm. And California is in absolute need of not only someone that can handle emergencies, but someone with the integrity and the leadership ability to actually get it done. And when you look at, especially when I was deciding to do this, when I looked at the list of people that were signing up to be our next governor, that's the last people we needed. It's the same names, the same faces of the people that put us here to begin with. And the last thing that Californians need right now is another politician, another millionaire, another billionaire, someone else coming in, telling us, a career politician, telling us what we need to know or what we need to do, how we need to behave, how much more money we need to give them. We just need someone that's actually looking out for Californians. And I think that's why the polls are showing what they're showing is Californians realize that I offer them that opportunity.
Right now, much of the electorate is undecided. We are, unfortunately, a one-party state, which means that you're going to have to delve into independents and maybe even a few Democrats. How does a Republican do that in this liberal state of ours?
I think just the situation that we find ourselves in is almost lending that to me. I already have the endorsement from the American Independent Party, so we are already reaching out to the middle, reaching out to the non-party preference. The Republicans, I think, are just a natural vote. And then what we have to realize, I know everybody says it's a blue state, but 55% of the state is not Democrat. So it's not something that can't be done. It's just something that is going to be harder than what a Democrat typically would face running for election. But it's nothing we're shying away from, and we can tell just from what we've been going through in the last 9 months traveling the state is people are ready for this.
Yeah, it's really not impossible. We've seen candidates like Brian Dahl, Steve Garvey get 40-45%. It's really not impossible. You're right, it's going to be difficult, but I think it can be done. I really do. Sheriff Youngblood, let's bring you in. What do you know about your...
Think about this.
Yes, sir.
Four of the last 8 governors of California have been Republicans.
Really? I didn't realize that, but it's been a while. It's been since Arnold.
Dimajian, Arnold, Reagan, and Pete Wilson.
Yeah.
So California gets fed up enough, and they finally do what's right, but it's a full circle with politicians and lawyers. You know, the last thing we need is another politician, another lawyer.
I concur. What do you know about your colleague that would make him a good governor?
I know a lot about Chad, but I can't tell you because it'd get him in trouble. You know, I met Chad when he first got elected as sheriff, and we had a conversation for about 2 minutes. And I told him, I said, you know, I know more about you already than I knew about your predecessor, which was really telling. Very open, very honest, sometimes brutally honest, and that's really what we need.
Yeah.
And, you know, I posted some pictures on social media the last 3 or 4 days, and one of them was with Chad Bianco. It got 3 or 4 times as many likes as any other picture I posted. Kind of offended me, but that's beside the point.
Well, that's good news.
Just a couple of good-looking guys, Donnie.
Good news for the candidate.
That's 2 minutes of opinion.
Yeah. Sheriff Bianco, if I could give you a magic wand and correct something in our state, what would be your first priority?
I think the price of gas, or our inability to actually drill our own oil, being oil dependent on other countries instead of using our own resources here. The cost of gasoline is the #1 driver of our cost of living in California. And my magic wand would be ridding ourselves of that handicap that puts us behind the 8 ball from the very beginning. So all of the regulations will be gone. We'll be drilling our own oil. We'll be oil independent in California. And there should be no reason why we don't have the cheapest gas in the country. And that brings everything else down as far as cost of living goes. And then we'll work on the other things with no taxes, all that good stuff. But #1 issue right off the bat is bringing down the cost of gas for everyone.
Yeah. I think you and Republicans throughout the state got a break because I thought once Katie Porter self-destructed, and she has self-destructed, she's not a factor, in my opinion. I thought it would be Senator Alex Padilla that got in, but it's Eric Swalwell, the man who allegedly slept with a Chinese spy, who's very controversial, whose ethics have been questioned. Do you intend to go after him specifically, or just talk about Chad Bianco?
Yeah, it's talking about Chad Bianco and what we have to offer the state of California and Californians in general. Not doing this for a political party. It's not for the Republican Party, the Independent Party, definitely not the Democrat Party. It's for all Californians. And I think that what we're going to see is what we absolutely know is that California is indefensible for the Democrat Party and the Democrat agenda. They have a failed social experiment over the last 20 years that is dismal failure. And they're all going to have to defend that, and they can't. So they're all going to have to attack each other, and we'll just let it happen, and we'll just be the voice of reason, the voice of common sense, that's just making sure that Californians know that there's hope on the horizon.
Yeah. There is another Republican in the race, Steve Hilton, who was just recently here in town with Megyn Kelly. Have you all talked at all? Will you approach him if the polls continue to show you as the leader among the Republicans and say, hey, man, why don't we get together and support me since we've got a chance to win here?
Yeah, we talk. We talk often. We're at the same events most times, and I like Steve. Steve's not saying anything that I'm not saying. So it's when you're talking a conservative Republican, I guess we have a lot in common. We'll just keep going with our campaign, getting the message out that I'm going to be the only Republican that has the ability to win a statewide campaign. As much as I like Steve, and as much as Steve has some good ideas, he's not going to win a statewide campaign against the Democrat field. And I think as we get closer, I think everyone's going to realize that, and we're very confident that we're going to be very, very strong going into not only June, but taking this in November.
Yeah. As Sheriff Donnie Youngblood can attest, sheriffs are, in a sense, politicians. You've got to get out there and shake hands and get votes. But how did you make that jump from Riverside County Sheriff to governor of the state?
I think that when you talk about us running, we run, all of our campaigns are based on leadership, honesty, integrity, and basically taking care of other people. And that's why we get elected. You have a fantastic sheriff there, been elected right now more than anyone in the state, any other sheriff in the state, more times. And for myself, I've been elected twice now, and that's telling to everyone, because we don't label ourselves as politicians, but we get labeled that way because we do have to run for election. But we tell it how it is. We're there for other people. We're sacrificing ourselves for others. We're not here for our own benefit or our own agenda. And I think that's what people realize, and that's what resonates. And we had a very interesting thing happen. In the Democrat Party decided that they were going to try and, a little bit of gerrymandering of their own and try and get rid of us sheriffs as elected. They want us to be appointed. But what they did a couple of years ago is they changed our election cycle. So it's now on the presidential cycle and not the governor's cycle. And so this will be the first time in history that we have had a sheriff running for governor. And it's something that people are looking at and saying, hey, we like our sheriffs. We like the integrity. We like the leadership, the proven leadership, the 32 years of law enforcement service to the public. And that's resonating well. And it's not the typical politician.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking with Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, gubernatorial candidate, and our very own Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. Let's assume you win. We're all got our fingers crossed down here. How does one govern as a Republican governor in this one-party state of ours?
Yeah, so winning, I hope that we can do something about the supermajority, but I'm not going to count on it. I'd like it to be a lot closer to equal. That's how government is supposed to run. But just having a Republican in the governor's office is going to do a lot to force the Democrat supermajority that they are actually going to have to govern. It's not going to be the vacuum that they live in. They're not going to live in their little bubble where they just approve every wild idea that they get. They're going to have to work on both sides of the aisle to make sure that all Californians are taken care of. And that's truly what I will make them do. I will hold them accountable. I will hold them accountable in the public realm. Everyone will know which politician is there for themselves and not for Californians. And I think that that's their biggest fear, is that they are going to be held accountable, because a politician's biggest fear is they don't get elected and reelected. And if I'm having press conferences every day telling Californians who are the people that are working for them and who are the people working against them, that's going to do a lot to force them to actually have to operate like government is supposed to operate.
Yeah. And having said that, can you impact what seems to be the hot topic in American politics right now, and that's affordability here in the state?
Absolutely. What we have to realize is affordability is 100% the fault of our current government, the lack of affordability. Everything about our cost of living is because of regulation. Everything about the cost of housing is because of government regulation. If they wanted to make it affordable here in California, they could do it tomorrow. This is a purposeful agenda of government control. So reducing those regulations, removing most of them, reducing and eliminating tons of the business taxes that goes along with them is going to be the key for the cost of living and where we find ourselves in California. And it's going to be a lot easier than people think. Number one, because I want it to happen. And number two, because the regulatory process can be signed away with a stroke of a governor's pen. And I'm going to be very busy in the first couple of days.
Yeah. And let me get you back in here, Sheriff Youngblood. Does seeing one of your fellow 58s give you run for higher office give you any thoughts?
It gives me thoughts of what he can do. You know, you have to understand, when Jerry Brown, who was a Democrat, was the governor, he came to every one of our meetings. We met 4 times a year. Brown was there with us every meeting and worked with us, not always giving us what we want, but he listened to us and he made decisions sometimes that helped us and what was best for the state. Gavin Newsom's never been to one of our meetings. I've never talked to the man.
Yeah.
He's been governor almost 8 years.
Don't find that hard to believe at all. We really don't. Sheriff Bianco, I'll leave you with this, as I traditionally do with all of our candidates, give you one more opportunity. Tell everyone here in Kern County and listening throughout the country why they should vote for Chad Bianco.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate being on the air with you, and look forward to making it happen again. Californians, what they can hope for and what they get with me as their governor is a governor who actually is going to make California work to make the lives of Californians better, rather than making us work to make California bigger. We have a fantastic opportunity right now. The public safety realm is number one on everyone's concern. And I mean, we have to all admit that that's my wheelhouse. Public safety is the number one priority. Infrastructure, education, and the cost of living all come in line right after that, a close second. And we will make sure that we can be proud to call ourselves Californians again.
Sheriff Youngblood, thanks for tuning in with us. We appreciate you participating. Always good to talk to you, sir.
You as well.
And Mr. Bianco, as we say to all of our candidates, good luck. And I'm sure it's early. We'll talk to you again soon. We appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Take care, sir.
With you, Donnie.
Sheriff Donnie Youngblood and gubernatorial candidate Chad Bianco. And a shout out to Angela Barton, who made this all happen. Really appreciate that. And as I said, I'm sure we'll be talking to Mr. Bianco at least once. Oh, I forgot to ask about debates. God dang it. Still early. And he probably would have said, no, nothing's just a year away. But still, you never know. Now that just about everybody who's going to be in is in, one would think. We'll see. There's still a lot of time. There's a lot of time. 44% undecided. Bianco leading at 13%. Katie Porter, who's plummeting like an anvil in Mariana's Trench, is at 11. Steve Hilton, who we mentioned in the interview, is at 8, along with Xavier Becerra. And then Viragosa and the rest of them are down 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not real players in this thing. It's going to come down to Hilton, Mr. Bianco, and Eric Swalwell, basically, if you ask me. But what the Sam Hill do I know? Quick time out. We'll check the board, see what y'all are talking about. Kathy Abernathy will join us at the top of the hour. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, we will get into Luigi Mangione, the alleged killer of The United Healthcare CEO was in court today, along with his 6,000 fans who lined up outside the courtroom, who have given this alleged killer close to $2 million and thousands of encouraging letters. That's where we are in 2025, where a portion of our country is rooting on a pretty apparent killer. I'll tell you what and why they were in court today and what the defense is trying to get excluded before a trial date is set. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, it's the National Day of Giving. We'll talk water with the best in the business. That's Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. Steve Sanders will be here from Calm to talk about the holiday lights. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you join us every Thursday, particularly at 4:30, when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. Daniel gives us a weekly update on the deficit and its growth. We look at silver and gold and obviously the stock market and all kind of economic issues that most importantly impact you. But again, you guys know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. I keep telling you guys, it's one of the smartest moves that I've ever made financially. Call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400 if retirement is in your near future. Or just tune in Thursdays at 4:30 when he joins us every week. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
This is your intrepid news reporter, Scoop Newsman, coming to you live from a helicopter high above the historic Santa Margarita Ranch. From this brave reporter's lofty vantage point, I can see preparations are continuing for the return of the Jingle Bell Express that will whisk passengers to Santa's village. Reports are that the historic Jingle Bell Express will be pulling amongst their cadre of rolling stock, genuine original Disney train cars. Once you arrive, kids and adults will be entertained like never before, with a mystic magic show, a charming Christmas market, adorable pony rides, and more food, fun, and frivolity than ever. The Jingle Bell Express will be arriving at the historic Santa Margarita Ranch November 28th and running until December 21st. But get your tickets now. This reporter also has a source deep inside Santa's village that has confirmed that if your plans change, your tickets can change too, from now until November. So make sure you reserve your seats on the Jingle Bell Express by going to christmas@themargarita.com before the Christmas train passes you by.
For 30 years, the Buena Vista Museum of Natural History and Science has been a place of discovery, curiosity, and wonder. And they couldn't have done it without your help and support.
Hi, this is Coral, Executive Director with Buena Vista Museum of Natural History and Science. We want to thank our incredible donors, our members, our dedicated volunteers, and those who have supported us every step of the way. Because of your generosity, we have expanded science education, exploration, and the preservation of natural history right here in Bakersfield. And during this holiday season, more than ever, our thoughts turn gratefully to those who have made our progress and success possible. It's in this spirit that we say simply, but sincerely, thank you. Wishing you a joyful holiday season and Happy New Year.
From your friends at the Buena Vista Museum of Natural History and Science, thank you for your support these past 30 years. We appreciate you.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
You're kidding, right?
It's December 1st.
No, come on.
It's not going to be all the music. A little bit of it.
I'll give you like the 15th. But not on the first day of December, dude. We're still eating turkey sandwiches.
Again, it's not all the way through. We're going to get maybe one song a day, maybe one an hour. You never know.
Best turkey sandwich. You get 2 big pieces of sourdough.
Okay, good start.
You get some dark meat from the turkey.
Yeah.
You throw a smattering of mac and cheese.
Ooh.
And a smattering of dressing.
Huh. Throw mashed potatoes in the middle of that too. You might have something there.
No, I put that on the side. I don't know if I'd throw that in the sandwich. But yes, that'd be a nice side. And if you want to get funky, and your mother actually makes cranberry sauce as opposed to just pulling it out of just a light cranberry, just to give it a little sweetness. That's a mean sandwich, Jack.
I see a lot of cranberry sauce hate this year. Not a lot of people really digging it being a part of Thanksgiving. I've never hated on it, but I also don't understand why it's part of it.
I'm not a big fan. I am a big fan of what is controversial of Thanksgiving, and that's yams.
Ooh,
Love
that's
yams. Love yams. It's a love-hate thing. Either you love them or you can't even look at them.
That's fair.
So that's what I've always heard. That's why I'm a sweet potato pie guy, because it's not actually sweet potatoes, but it's yams that sweet potato pie is made out of, as opposed to pumpkin pie, which I can tolerate, but sweet potato pie is clearly superior. And once again, as I've always said, I used to think that was a Black cultural thing, when in fact it is a Southern cultural thing more than a Black thing. But that's just the way I was raised with sweet potato pie. I've told you the story how my parents brought sweet potato pies to our the TV station once when I was anchoring. We ended the show with a pumpkin story, and we had to stretch. And my co-anchor said she'd never had sweet potato pie. And I had the next 2 days off. And unbeknownst to me, my mom and dad, when they were alive, when my dad was alive, my mother brought down, I think, like 3 sweet potato pies to the station. And I got back on Wednesday, and I was like the toast of the station. And I was like, why is everybody being so nice to me? And then finally somebody's like, your parents were down here, and they gave us sweet potato pie. Does anybody save a slice for a brother? No.
Of course not.
No, of course not. 842-5376. Anything on the board before we get Kathy in here?
Yeah, I got a couple here.
What do you got?
Witkoff, a longtime billionaire friend of Trump, have backdoor deals with Russia for foreign investments. The Witkoff and Trump children go to the front of the line to get rich if Trump gives Ukraine to Russia.
Well, you're bagging on Witkoff, as I just got bagged on for bagging on the Trump cabinet. And it's ironic because Witkoff is one of the few competent members of that cabinet. I think Witkoff is kick-ass. Scott Beeson, the only competent people in this cabinet are Scott Beeson, Treasury Secretary. Witkoff, he is going with Jared Kushner, who I wish was part of this cabinet. They're on their way to Russia to talk to Vladimir Putin for reasons I don't understand. Maybe we'll talk about that next with Kathy, along with a couple of other issues. But Vladimir Putin does not want peace. Vladimir Putin wants Ukraine, period. End of sentence. We'll see what happens. As I mentioned, Kathy Abernathy is next.
This is AM 1180 KERN, Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM, Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The White House confirms a second military strike was ordered against a suspected drug smuggling boat to kill survivors.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended the September 2nd action against an alleged drug boat as lethal targeting and said the second strike was carried out in self-defense and in accordance with laws governing armed conflict.
The president has a right to take them out if they are threatening the United States of America and if they are bringing illegal narcotics.
Lawmakers from both parties are questioning the incident after the Washington Post reported that Defense Secretary Hegseth ordered the military to kill everybody.
And he looks good at 67.
A new federal review has found that 44% of U.S. trucking schools don't comply with government rules.
The Transportation Department said that it plans to revoke the accreditation of nearly 3,000 schools unless they can comply with training requirements in the next 30 days. Separately, the Department of Homeland Security is auditing trucking firms owned by immigrants to verify their drivers are qualified to hold a commercial license. Another 45,000 schools are being warned that they could face similar action. This crackdown on trucking schools and companies is the latest step in the government's effort to ensure truck drivers are qualified and eligible to hold a commercial license. I'm Haya Pinchwani.
A manhunt continues for the people believed to have been behind the Stockton area mass shooting that killed 4
Sounds
and
like a
injured
good
11
guy,
at a
smart
child's
guy.
birthday party.
Have you met him?
San Joaquin County Sheriff Patrick Withrow.
This is a time for our community to show that we will not put up with this type of behavior where people will just walk in and kill children.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 427 points. The NASDAQ dropped 89. More at townhall.com.
Mid-50s, I'm guessing.
Everyone
Hey,
is watching
Siri,
major movements ripple through the
show me
markets
Chad
these days,
Bianco.
sparked by new policy shifts out of Washington and activity from the Federal Reserve. Americans have faced uncertainty before, and every time, we've found our footing again. The real secret to long-term financial peace is simple. Keep your eyes on the horizon and understand the fundamentals that drive real stability. That's exactly why Advantage Gold is inviting you to call 800-741-GOLD right now. We'll send you a free Gold IRA rollover kit, along with a complimentary copy of economist Ken Rogoff's insightful book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Inside, you'll learn how to defend your retirement savings against inflation, market swings, and reckless fiscal policies with tangible assets like precious metals that have preserved wealth for centuries. It's no wonder Advantage Gold has been America's #1 gold company for the past decade. Take a smart step toward protecting what you've earned. Call 800-741-GOLD. That's 800-741-4653. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
They shot at the cops, and the cops shot back. I'm Chris Davis. And that's the story so far from Wasco Police and the California Highway Patrol about a chase that ended this morning with the suspect dead. The chase was on Highway 99 near Bear Mountain Road. When officers from Wasco couldn't get the man to pull over, they and CHP officers used spike strips and deflated the guy's tires. He was forced to pull over onto the shoulder, and that's when police say the man got out and shot at officers, and they shot back. They provided medical care, but it was too late for the man whose name has not been made public yet.
And you can see it's
Your
still
sewer rates
screwed
in
up.
Bakersfield
It's
are
just
likely
one lane.
going up because of upgrades
So I
to the
told her as
wastewater
we were
treatment
approaching
system, and the new
California, I
rates
told her
that
to
the
go,
city is proposing will be
I said, I can't get
discussed
over, I
this
can't get over.
Wednesday evening. That'll be
So
a
she gets
public
on the
meeting, and
freeway,
if you
and I
live
said,
in
okay, if we're gonna get on
Bakersfield,
the
you
freeway,
are
the key
invited.
is you've
That
got to
is
get
6
in the
p.m. at
second
the Kern
lane.
City Civic
You
Association.
can't get in the
You are
first
asked
lane.
to bring along
So what
your
does she do?
opinion.
Look at it.
In
Means
Tulare
crawling.
County, the name
And
of
it
a
was
person
worse
killed
earlier.
Sunday morning in a wreck on westbound Avenue
So she gets in
152
the
has
first
not
lane
been made
'cause she didn't
public
know.
yet, but authorities are
She didn't
saying a
know how
bit
to
more
drive
about
well
what
enough to
happened.
get
It was shortly after 4:30 a.m. when a car drove into the back of a tractor that was headed in the same direction. That impact killed the driver of the car. Police do
Neither
not
did I.
believe drugs
I
or
knew about it,
alcohol
but
were
forgot.
a factor.
But then you
If
could
you are
see it when you're
18, a
approaching the
U.S.
freeway.
citizen,
You can
and
see
have
it
lived in
crawling.
Kern County for
So
at
I
least
said,
a
okay,
year,
let's
and if
get
you are
on, but
interested in
make
serving
sure you
your
get in that
community,
second
you
lane.
may want to sign up to
Because look,
serve
the
on the
second lane is
grand jury.
fine.
Applications are being accepted now through March 13th. You'd be part of a 19-member body that makes sure public funds are spent responsibly and that government is operating efficiently. Gas is down a couple of cents to $4.51 on average, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think this is the army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this first day of December. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com and on YouTube for those of you subscribing. Tell them how they can subscribe, Chris Burdick.
All you have to do is go on your internet browser, whichever one you choose, type in youtube.com, and then right there in the search bar right at the top, type in The Ralph Bailey Show or Current Radio, whichever one you prefer. First thing that'll pop up will be one of our videos. All you have to do is go to the page, hit the subscribe button and the bell, and it'll tell you every single time we go live.
Closing in on 500 subscribers.
We're getting there. Hey, man, we were laughing about it a month ago, but we're halfway to 1,000.
Yeah, that was our goal, to get to 1,000. That's our goal. Just everything's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What the Chinese say, trip of 1,000 miles starts with one step, or whatever they say. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll get into Luigi Mangione, who was in court today. We'll explain why and why the defense is trying to get certain things excluded. Then in the 5, we'll talk about the departure of Lane Kiffin, who's leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU for $91 million. And we'll talk about Week 13 in the NFL. It was a fun weekend over the 4 days. Got to see a lot of football, and the Raiders continue to be the worst football team, the worst team in all of sports, if you ask me. Even the Jets won. Just saying. It is a Monday, however.
Get your motor running.
Get out on the highway. Kathy's looking for adventure. Professor Kathy Abernathy. How are you, Professor?
Real good. Is that a coach or a player that's getting $91 million?
A coach.
Oh.
Over a 7-year period. $13 million a year. And he walked out on the team that he's been coaching for the last couple of years as they are about to enter the playoffs.
Oh, you mean he did it immediately?
Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't wait till the end of the season. He signed a contract and thought that the Ole Miss was going to let him continue to coach, which would allow him to steal their players and their coaches.
Oh.
And they were like, no, get a box and get the hell off our campus. You're going crazy? Take your $91 million and go to Louisiana.
And we have this thing now that college players can all get paid.
Oh,
right?
yes.
That's
not only.
What about college physics majors? Shouldn't they get paid?
Yeah, you would think. And not only can they do that, they can leave the college that they've been recruited to anytime they please. It's called the portal, where if you go to CSUB, you're not getting the playing time you want. You can go to Cal State LA or UCLA or whoever wants you and get paid. Let me just give you an example of how bad it is, Kathy.
Are we the only state that does that?
No. It's all across the country.
Okay.
A softball player left. Where'd she leave, Chris, to go down south? Stanford? And then ended up at Tennessee.
South Carolina, but it was Stanford? Was it Stanford?
I think it was Stanford. She got $1 million.
That's Stanford. Wow. That
For $1 million?
I heard Stanford. Wow.
For $1 million to pitch a softball. So imagine what football players are getting.
To be fair, she was pitching at over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Oh, she was the best pitcher. She was the best.
Wow.
She was the best pitcher in baseball at the time. And so, female.
She's probably for females in male sports now.
Yeah, no kidding. Because there is no professional softball league.
They're actually in the process of making one right now.
Are they really?
Yeah, MLB is about to fund one.
It's not bad. I find it exciting. I really do. The only part of female softball that I can't, is that redundant? Female softball? I think that is redundant. At least on a collegiate level it is.
Well, there is male softball, but
yeah, but that's fat old guys in
exactly.
parks. On a collegiate level, there's no men's softball. But I just don't like the singing.
What singing?
They chant.
You're thinking of that movie.
No. Believe me, I've watched a lot of women's softball. They chant.
Oh, they do. Well, I've got two daughters that were softball. Yeah.
Yeah, and they chant. They sing. They have hey, I'm like, what? What are you, cheerleaders? What's going on? I don't know.
I don't know how much of that. I guess I don't remember hearing a lot of that.
Oh, trust me.
They do.
Am I wrong, Chris? You're the sports guy.
Oh, you're absolutely right. They have chants. I mean, it's more like a soccer match now than it is a traditional.
They have like different ones. It's like, hey, bada, bada, bada is long. Oh, God.
Too cheesy.
Yeah, that's my
full songs now.
my childhood. Yeah. Hey, batter, 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 swing, batter. That's what we grew up with. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's true.
So, what do you think of Chad Bianco?
Well, good man, good. Well, any Republican is better than the Democrats we have in Sacramento, in the building, and in the governor's office.
Certainly better than any of the candidates.
Of the Democrat candidates,
Yes.
we do have a couple good Republicans, but but let's be brutally frank here. What can you do as a Republican governor except veto?
That's what I asked him. How do you govern?
You can't. You can't in that building. In that building is 81 to 82, 85% one party. And now, of course, our congressional delegation, they just stole 6 districts. So they're about 90% of the congressional delegation. But anyway, in Sacramento, you got to pass laws and change things, which is what mostly we need to do. They're not going to vote for it. They're not going to vote to lower the gas tax.
No.
That's never going to happen with that building who's in it. So all those that want to run for governor, my pitch is you better first commit. It's a couple $1 million is all it would take to get the signatures to change the way these lines are drawn so they're fair, which is my point is honor city and county lines. The less you cut a city and county up, the more fair your plan. A computer can do it in minutes. Unless you do something where as you brought up, statewide, our candidates running with no money, no name ID, but it's statewide. So there's no borders except the state border. Republicans running statewide, no money, no name ID, get between 40 and 45% of the vote. Ralph Bailey would get between 40 and 45% of the vote, just putting his name on the ballot for statewide offices. So if we're getting that way, how come we're getting 10% of the seats?
Right.
Because of these outrageous districts and this phony commission. We don't need it if we just say honor city and county lines. It's all statistical. Somebody, you should Google tonight, folks listening, California congressional districts, and look at Kern County, and look how it's like a forklift slides down to pick up parts of the center of Bakersfield and go in and out. Look at this stuff. It is so outrageous. And that's just where we live. Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino are worse. So I want to hear that in tandem running for governor, don't fool yourself that you're going to change the laws up there, because you're not. All you can do is veto, but you could also support changing the way these districts are drawn. And in 2 years, have a redrawing, fair, by machine with stats that can't be argued about. If you don't cut Bakersfield into a bunch of pieces, like right now, Bakersfield Country Club's in 2 pieces. Bakersfield City is split up in and out. Like I said, Lodi, California, what's the population of Lodi? Is it 50,000?
No,
I've
only driven through there.
3 congressional districts cut into it, just by game playing. So I want to see that. I want to hear that. I know that I've talked a lot with Steve Hilton about it, and he's very supportive. But it should be in tandem with their race for governor that we get this qualified. It's got to be enough signatures in by June to be on the November ballot, and hold the Democrats' feet to the fire for the way they play the game, which is to cheat so a Republican can't win. So there aren't alternative voices in the state capitol. It's all people of one persuasion. Spend and get more taxes to spend more.
And it's even more devastating since Governor Abbott's attempt to redistrict has failed. A court knocked that down. Mm-hmm. So the majority gets even thinner. Then you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene stepping aside. I understand there's another Republican stepping aside. And we've got a special election going on tomorrow in Tennessee in a district that Trump won by 22%, but apparently is a tight race.
Well, let's understand the laws, political election laws in Tennessee are just like California's were about 15 years ago. And they lasted real nights in California, and we had election night victory parties. Now we don't. We have election night, hang out, have a drink, go home, and come back in a month, and you'll know who won. In Tennessee, the cutoff to ask for an absentee ballot was 10 days ago.
Yeah, they're already voting.
Yeah. But I mean, you can't get an absentee ballot after November. No, excuse me. They don't call it absentee. They have places you can go vote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
they've been voting for like almost 2 weeks now.
But you can't register to vote after 10 days out. We used to have that requirement so that we don't have this mess of people showing up election day and, well, they have to hold the ballot, wait to see if they mailed their other ballot. There is no mail ballots. They have to go vote somewhere. Of course, just like California used to have a law, you could have exceptions. You could ask, I'm going to be out of the country. I'm paralyzed, whatever. But not everybody gets mailed millions and millions and millions of live ballots that sit out there on the street and in the trash cans. So then the other thing is IDs. This is required, either Tennessee driver's license, U.S. passport, something given out by the Department of Homeland Security, your military photo ID. That's what you have to show to vote. We don't have that either. So, but when you talk about why is it so close, a seat that Trump did so well, the polls are reflecting the difference between people who say they're gonna vote election day and people who have already voted. And it's very easy to be, because you didn't vote within the last 10 days, to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go vote election day. I'm going to go. That's probably your weakest voters that they're polling that show that they are moving towards often, is how she pronounces it, often Ben.
Yeah.
So I don't think the poll is as tight of all the voters as it is of those who haven't voted yet. And I'm not sure they're going to vote.
Yeah, and again, the problem that I have is obviously things change in a campaign, and this woman, the Tennessee Democrat, got off to a fast start, and then some videos started popping up, like Katie Porter, of her calling herself the Democratic AOC, and her belief that we should get rid of the police. And she was on with Caitlin Collins over the weekend, and completely tried to walk away, wouldn't answer any of the questions. Do you still consider yourself the AOC? I consider myself Ralph Bailey. No, that's not the question. You said, and she just completely changed that. Now, if you voted a week ago and then you watch this thing this weekend, that might have changed your mind. You might have been like, wait a minute. I didn't know this woman was calling herself AOC.
Well, what about she wants to represent Nashville, Tennessee, and she hates country music.
Can't stand Nashville.
If you don't like it, why bring it up?
Yeah.
You're going to run in the congressional district with a New York Philharmonic Orchestra. You're going to say, I hate classical music.
She's run down the city. She's run down Nashville.
She doesn't like tourists.
Yeah.
I don't like the tourists. Where is your income in Nashville coming from?
Kidding.
From your famous hospital? No, it's coming from
Grand Ole Opry and all the honky tonks and the music. It's Music City.
Pathetic. She's pathetic, and I would hope voters there. I'm pretty certain. I have some friends. Well, we all have friends that have moved to Tennessee. I have several that have moved close to Nashville. And Nashville itself is kind of heavily more Democrat registration, but this congressional district is it's west of Nashville as well. So,
like I said, Trump won by 22%.
Mm-hmm. And they're the state of who are some of the other senators we've had? Howard Baker. I mean, their whole history has been major senators are Republicans. So statewide, they always go Republican.
Wasn't John Tower?
No,
he's from Texas. He was from Texas.
But no, Howard Baker, Fred Thompson. Remember, he was part actor, part senator. Lamar Alexander. I mean, some really big names have come out of Tennessee.
I love Lamar Alexander. His failed presidential bid broke my heart.
Very good man.
Yep.
Very, very smart man.
Educator.
Big on education.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't he president of UT?
I don't know.
He was president of one of the colleges there. I was assuming it was UT.
Yeah.
But.
No, I still expect. So the polling on the people that voted by making the effort to go out and vote, that polling is very strong for the Republican. The people they polled who say, no, I haven't voted yet, but I will. They were leaning to her. Now that was 3-4 days ago, like you said, things have come out. So we'll see. I'm not worried about Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat. It's pretty much you only Republicans run for that. So
yeah,
it's it would have to be that heavy Republican to elect somebody as far right as she was.
I forgot that we did not discuss her departure last time you were here. What are your thoughts on Marjorie Taylor?
I don't know. I was going to ask our former Congressman McCarthy because he knew her pretty well and seemed to keep her in line a little better when he was Speaker. But well, she embarked on this very hard anti-Israel policy and
well, first I should have introduced why I wanted to discuss it.
Okay.
I read that the reason there was a falling out between her and Trump was because the Trump people did a poll. She wanted to run for statewide office. She wanted to take on John Loeffler for the Senate race. And the Trump people did a poll and discovered that she couldn't win. And the Trump said, look, you're not going to win. And the Trump administration is portraying it, and I believe this, is we're doing you a solid. Because if we hadn't given you this information and you had ran, you would have been humiliated. Your career would be over. She was insulted by that. And this is what they're claiming. And that's when she began issue by issue, taking on Trump, on Israel, on Ukraine, on you name it. She was suddenly off the reservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and she knew even running for reelect, it was likely that the Trump endorsement was not going to go to her because of the series of things. So
and that means defeat.
It's probably better for the party that she's going to do something else. I don't know what she's going to do. If she's going to start a third party in Georgia, I don't know. But goodbye, good riddance.
Good riddance.
I've never had an affinity for her.
I thought she was nutsy cuckoo. But I think she's had, and maybe this is just, it's all theater to some degree. It's a lot of performing. But I thought, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt that the Charlie Kirk assassination maybe sobered her up a little bit. And that's why I thought her interview on The View, which she got attacked for by Republicans going on The View, and her sit down with, I believe it was Dana Bash, where she said, I apologize for who I've been, basically, and that I have contributed to ratcheting up the discussion or the heat of the discussion, and I want to change. I found that endearing, actually. I never thought I would say that about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Well, she's made the decision. She's leaving January 3rd, and so I think they said she's leaving 3 days after she qualifies for congressional retirement. So
I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that.
She'll be okay.
Could the Republicans lose a majority before a year from now?
I don't see it. No.
There's another congressman retiring.
Right.
I'm assuming it's a Republican seat, though.
Yeah. No, I don't see anything there. I think it's going to just stay as close as it is right now.
2.
Yeah. Well, 2 or 3.
It's 2.
Is it 2 for sure right now? Okay, because they just swore in a Democrat woman who won a race
Arizona
a while back.
Mm-hmm.
So, they'll have to. Nobody can sneeze. If somebody has even the least bit of a cold, they're told to, go. Be careful. Don't hang around. Don't sneeze around your colleagues. We can't afford anybody to drop dead.
Yeah, no kidding. And if your children are getting married, tell them to do it next summer or next year.
Or you're not going to be there.
That's right.
Don't have your tooth pulled.
Yeah. Talk about counting heads. Good Google movement.
As I said, I worked in Washington many years, 25 years, and switched Republican, Democrat a couple times. Of course, the big shocker was 94. But we never was 2 or 5 or 7. It was always 14 up, sometimes in the 20s. The majority of either side. We never spent our time worrying, did somebody's plane come in late? We can't vote tonight. Things like that didn't happen. So this is very unique, but it's a lot of this very clever redrawing of districts nationwide that we just really need to get back to simple, fair. Don't cut city and county lines. Do something fair and don't try to win the game in advance.
I really think Republicans should start talking about what happens if we lose the majority, because maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I really believe the very first thing they're going to do is go after the filibuster. I really believe that.
And then once the Senate,
yes, and then once they get control of that, as I've stated many times, I think they're going to go after the courts. They're going to pack the courts. I think they're going to try to make DC and Puerto Rico a state. I think they're going to try to end any birth of voter ID, which is just incomprehensible to me. You can't win the lottery without a damn ID.
I can't check out a library book. I can't get a library card without showing ID.
Thank you.
Copies of, in fact, even Tennessee says bring copy of your utility bills and
yes.
to your house.
And it's an insult to African
Americans.
Americans.
Welfare, is it not welfare? You have to have an ID.
WIC, yes.
So it's
ridiculous to say that poor black folks, and why black folks would even put up with this.
No.
That us poor black folks don't have an ID. Can't possibly, but we're buying lottery tickets, I'll tell you that. You know, let's be honest. The biggest purchaser of lottery tickets are low-income folks.
That's true. Hoping on
and
to
you
make
can't win without an ID.
Why this has been going on, this is all this business of saying that they're making laws that make it harder on minorities, make it harder on older people, whatever, is such baloney, and it just picks up speed and it becomes gospel. I'm so tired of it. I don't know how we let this get away from us. People have to have certain standards, and the minimum should be who votes for the president of the United States and the U.S. Congress and the governor of your state. Going to have to show who the heck they are. Because if your name is Javier Gonzalez in this county, you could probably go, or Jose Gonzalez. And I see the roster. I go through, the ballot roster.
Yeah.
There's hundreds. So you could go to virtually every precinct in this county on election day. Not every precinct. Let's say half of them say, I'm Jose Gonzalez. Okay, here you go. Because there's that many Gonzalez registered. It's a common name. I mean, the same with Punjabi names are quite a bit the same too. So, yeah, it's absurd. And I know there's a signature drive going right now trying to get it going again. But again, if we change the legislature and they're more responsible, and some of them, and that 88% don't get reelected, no matter if they vote to take away your firstborn, but have to actually run where people are showing their ID to vote, that'll be a real nice change.
Yeah.
Change that building. So it all comes together. That's why I'm not so excited about a governor race as I am about changing what's in that building in Sacramento, because the laws they pass, the fact that gas tax we tried to reduce, we had a referendum on it.
Right.
And we tried to do that. And you'd think, is there any moron in California that's going to say, no, I want to pay more gas tax? But it failed because you had to vote yes. And the attorney general, again, there's nobody watching that place. The attorney general at that time, a Democrat, wrote, well, if you vote yes to repeal the gas tax, it'll reduce the amount of money to repair roads. Who's going to vote for that?
Right.
Who's going to vote for that? But they can totally change what's on a ballot. And so I'm sure if this initiative I want to do got on there, they would say it causes cancer, and then I'd have to sue and go to court to get it. That's what we deal with in this state, and it's pathetic.
Have you seen the map on gas prices, where everything west of, like, let's say everything east of Denver, prices are going down. I just talked to my aunt in Atlanta. It's like $2.35 a gallon, and everything west of Denver is going up, where it's like $3.70, which for us is good.
If it was $3, it'd be
but when you look at what's going on in Georgia and South Carolina, where they're paying like $2 a gallon.
And that, you figure how much that adds up to on every tank, $14 every time you fill that tank. And if you drive, and affects poor people. I mean, if you have to commute across LA to get to like San Bernardino or somewhere to go to work every day, they're burning up a lot of fuel. We see them right now on 99 here. I mean, all these trucks, all of it is just, and if they're paying more, then you're paying more for what's in those trucks. It's all relative. And of course, California is providing the gas to the states that are right near us, which is why their prices are higher. But no, it's ridiculous. We can change it, but it's going to take a lot of cooperative leadership to say that's the goal.
You would think in this era when every politician starts his first or her first sentence with affordability, you would think we'd be able to do it right now.
Yeah.
You really would.
You're right.
Always good to talk to you, Professor.
Thank you, Ralph.
Talk to you next week.
Okay.
Kathy Abernathy, everybody. Quick time out. Luigi Mangione was in court today. We'll talk about that next.
News Talk 96.1 and AM
Luigi.
KERN.
Who are standing outside in 30-degree weather. It's 35 degrees in New York. They're standing outside in thousands, just cheering him on.
And fog are pestering
Yes, they would.
travelers in the
$1.5 million.
while the Northeast is gearing up for its first major snowstorm of the season. More than 8 inches of snow fell at Chicago O'Hare International Airport this weekend, setting a record for the highest single-day snowfall in November at the airport.
That have been given to him.
Starbucks will pay about $35 million to more than 15,000 New York City workers to settle claims it denied them stable schedules and arbitrarily cut their hours. The settlement agreement was announced Monday. Hours later, Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani and U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders visited striking baristas on a picket line.
Broke in on this guy.
More details available at SRNnews.com.
And the guy was a veteran. Got all 3 of them. And the mother comes to court.
96.1.
He was just stealing from you and you shot him.
From the KERN newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. A man was shot and killed by officers with Wasco Police and the California Highway Patrol this morning on Highway 99 near Bear Mountain Road.
Yeah.
The officers who had been chasing him and used spike strips to stop his car say he got out and fired his gun at them first. The name of a person killed about 4:30 Sunday morning on Avenue 152 has not yet been made public. Police say that person drove into the back of a tractor that was going the same way. A public meeting on the proposed sewer rate increase for Bakersfield is set for Wednesday at 6 at the Kern City Civic Association. You are invited if this will affect you, and you are asked to bring your opinion. This is a follow-up to the virtual meeting held a couple of weeks ago. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th. So go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026.
Have yourself
this annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust.
Well, yeah, you just put it in my damn head. Wasn't that the song?
D-SNP, a new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal. Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too.
Christmas
Call
Eve,
1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more and enroll. Start your Medicare journey with local care you trust.
Good, because I took them.
Kern Family Healthcare. Kern Family
Just
Healthcare
in
Medicare
case.
is an HMO D-SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the California Medicaid program. Enrollment in Kern Family Healthcare Medicare HMO D-SNP depends on contract renewal.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We got an election actually taking place in my congressional district. We'll talk about the latest as it will be the final preview we get before the midterms. Plus, Buck.
Looks like there's a ton of benefits fraud going on in Minneapolis among Somali American immigrants. We'll discuss the Democrat hand in all this on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to the client. I'll be right back.
Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Don't get up any higher. I'm so alone. Leave the bed and the fire. That is all that I own. I ain't breaking your heart. Don't start breaking my Clyde River. Yeah, get away from the door.
Sammy Davis.
I ain't going your way. Don't you start coming my way, River. Stay away.
842-5376. 842-KERN. Want to thank Kathy Abernathy. And again, if you missed the interview, you can go back on YouTube tonight and watch it. And it warms my heart. I always check right before I go to bed. I kind of watch like the first 5 minutes. I can't sit and watch this ugly mug. I really can't. And specifically before I get this knot taken off my head. I just can't. Did I tell you the story about how because I used to have a carbuncle on the back of my head. I'm
Right.
not a very, as strange as it may sound, I'm really not. I don't give a damn. I'm old and I'm ugly, and it just is what it is. I'm about to die in 15, 20 years. Who cares? But I was playing golf. Last time I played golf, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. By the way, the clubs are officially in the second bedroom. They're in the storage room.
Closet, the second bedroom.
They're in the second. No, just on the bed. I just threw them in the second bedroom. I tried it this weekend. I thought I was going to be in LA all weekend. I ended up coming back Saturday and woke up Sunday and went outside at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I was just like, ain't no way. I'm sorry. When the high is 62, at 7, 8, it's like in the 40s, maybe low 50s.
Yeah, it was pretty chilly.
And anything, I'm an LA boy, man. Anything in the low 60s is cold. If it's not sunny and there's no breeze, you're good. If it's sunny and there's no breeze and it's low 60s, you're okay by the middle of the afternoon. But the guys that I play with on Sunday, Mark Swayman, the boys, and even Zucchini on Saturdays want to play early at 7, 8 in the morning, man. And the worst part is just being in the cart.
Yeah.
That's the worst part, to be honest with you. You speeding around that golf course, it is freezing.
There was a little bit of a breeze, but we had that stretch of fog too, which was interesting.
Yeah.
For a couple days there.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was in LA.
You didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you were gone. You're absolutely right. No,
Yeah.
we had a stretch of fog there day after Thanksgiving up until a little bit last night, actually, or yesterday morning.
842-5376, 842-KERN. Anything on the board?
Yeah, I got to come here.
What do you got?
Lisa has chimed in, said, my daughter makes the best cranberry sauce. It's delicious with peanut butter and a PB&J. That sounds fantastic.
Ooh, but isn't that redundant? Cranberry sauce and jelly?
I think she means like sub the jelly out. For cranberry.
When you make that the PB&C?
Or I guess the homemade cranberry sauce would probably be better, but
and most people just take it out of the can. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
but that's pretty cool. My mother used to make it out of by hand. I don't know how you make cranberry sauce. I suppose with cranberries. What else you got?
Ralph, listing via internet driving home from Utah. I paid $267 at Costco.
You see what I'm saying? Where? And this was in Colorado?
Utah.
Oh, Utah. Ooh. Geography.
Lehigh, Utah.
Is Utah west of Denver, west of Colorado? I believe it is. Hey, Siri, is Utah west of Colorado?
Utah is to the west of Colorado.
Yes, it is. And it's only 260, so I got to change my graphic. I was just guessing on the graphic. They're alluding to the fact that I alluded to during our conversation with Kathy. The fact that I saw a map where everything on the east is in the 2s and everything in the west is in the 3s, if not 4s. We're barely out of the 4s. I saw right here at this Samco at the 76 station, 377, which is pretty cheap, isn't it? Isn't that cheap, Mr. Driver?
Yeah.
377.
Cheap right now.
Yeah. What else you got?
Be intellectually honest. There are plenty of red states with mega super majorities, and you don't have a problem with that?
Read that again.
It says, be intellectually honest. There are plenty of red states with MAGA super majorities, and you don't have a problem with that.
Well, the problem is the gerrymandering. And nobody is saying that it's necessarily a Democratic gerrymandering problem, although now it has become one. But that's the issue. And all Kathy is saying is, in this era of AI, allow a computer to do it within county and city lines. And how we put up with gerrymandering for the hundreds of years, I think it was in the late 1880s, when the man whose name was Gerrymander, or was it Jerry Space Mander, or either his last name was Gerrymander or his first name was Jerry Space Mander, I can't remember which. But we've been putting up with this for over 100 years. Just allowing people to create congressional districts that look like coiled up snakes. It's ridiculous on both sides. So it's not a matter of whether it's Republican or Democrat. It is a gerrymandering problem that has to stop. All we're asking for is an equal opportunity. And I don't know about those other states. I live in California. And in the state of California, as Kathy made the strong argument, you can get 45% of the vote if you're John Doe, and yet our representation in Congress is almost in the single digits. That makes no sense. If it was 80-20 Democrats in the state of California, okay, I get it. That's called democracy. The majority wins, the big number wins, but that's not the case. And that's why I was so pleased to see when we interviewed Chad Bianco, the fact that he's been endorsed by the American Independent Party, because he's going to need every one of those independents to try to win. Eldridge Jerry, says the genius Romeo Agbalag, is the creator of gerrymandering. So I was in the zip code, but I was, once again, wrong again, Ralph. Wrong again. Thank you, Romeo. What else you got?
Republicans are starting to flee the ship like rats. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the first one. More are to come. Hakeem Jeffries may have the gavel before the midterms. Republicans are sick of Trump being the Speaker of the House and them not doing anything and having no power.
Well, I don't know about your description. Your statement is accurate that I think there are going to be more folks fleeing, but you really don't think that those that are leaving are in competitive districts. For example, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I should have written down the other gentleman who is all but certain he's going to step aside by the end of the week. Those are safe Republican districts. As the texter just mentioned, there are states that are strong red states because of Eldridge Jerry. Thank you. But so I'm not concerned about that. And Hakeem Jeffries, you think he's going to be the majority leader if they win? He's on the hot seat. A, he took money from Jeffrey Epstein. B, he's lost control of his party. They are spinning around trying to figure out who they are. You've got we just talked about a Tennessee candidate who's comparing herself to AOC. The Democratic Socialists are beginning to take over this party. And Hakeem Jeffries is being primaried by, guess who? A Democratic Socialist. You let the genie out of the bottle, as Democrats did, as they slowly but surely jumped on the Zoran Memdani train. Remember, Hakeem Jeffries waited till the 11th hour to endorse the guy because they just couldn't figure it out. They knew they were getting in bed with a snake that could rearrange and destroy their party, but they couldn't fight him. What were they going to do? Support Andrew Cuomo? Just a horrendous candidate and probably worse human being? Eric Adams, who go down as one of the worst mayors of New York ever? They had no choice but to embrace this guy. And now they've opened Pandora's box or the genie's bottle, however you want to put it, and they can't put it back. They can't put it back. And now some of them are going to be the victims of this anti-Semitic, narrow-minded party. And that's why, who told you, go Memdani, go? Who said that? A freckle-faced, ugly old black man said, go Memdani, go. Let him and AOC and Ilhan Omar, let them be the face of the Democratic Party. Please let them be the face. So you're talking about Hakeem Jeffries taking over the gavel. You better hope Hakeem Jeffries gets reelected. One more, and let's take a break.
She left Stanford for Texas Tech. That is called Patrick Mahomes money he found in the NIL. And actually, I forgot. I think they were right. She went to Texas Tech afterwards.
Was it Texas Tech?
I remember somebody black and red. I couldn't remember if it was South Carolina or Texas Tech, but I think they're correct. It may have been Texas Tech.
Yeah, it wasn't the Gamecocks. They haven't had a good program down there in years, down in Columbia. Not in years. We were talking about NIL money with Kathy earlier. How do we get on with NIL with Kathy?
I couldn't remember how it started. I think she brought up Lane Kiffin. She had brought up the Lane Kiffin contract and how he's getting $91 million.
Oh, yeah. $13 million a year for a guy who's going to leave in 3 years. Signed a 7-year contract. He'll be gone in 48 months.
Is that governor going to go to the podium and cry about it after that too?
Yeah. And he gets, when we talk about it in the 5 o'clock hour, I'll chronicle how he gets, I believe, I'll read it out of the Post, but I think he gets, at any time he walks away, he still gets 81% of his entire contract. Why would you set that up with a notorious snake who has a series of departures, hasty departures? Quick timeout. Take a quick timeout, come right back, check the board, get into the 5, and I will explain when we come back why the defense wants certain pieces of evidence in the Luigi Mangione case thrown out and why they are hoping for a miracle. I'll explain right after this. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live, kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty Show, the big climate conference wrapping up in Brazil. Those poor people have no idea why we're not paying attention to them anymore. And did Pete Hegseth order the bombing of those 2 people clinging to the boat? Did that actually happen? I'm sure we'll have more details by the next Armstrong and Getty Show. As a matter of fact, we'll bring you up to speed on all the big stories that are out there on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Networks. You know, a lot of IT companies try to squeeze your unique business into their cookie-cutter solutions. That's why we've teamed up with Adaptive Networks, because they know no two businesses are exactly alike, and your IT shouldn't be either. While other MSPs offer one-size-fits-all packages, Adaptive Networks takes the time to listen and understand your specific challenges, your industry requirements. They build custom technology solutions that actually fit your business, not the other way around. So whether you're a small company or a growing enterprise, Adaptive Networks adapts to you. Their customer-driven approach means you get exactly what you need. So don't settle for generic IT support. Call Adaptive Networks today and discover what truly customized technology solutions can do for your business. Adaptive Networks, because your business is unique and your IT should be as well. Visit adaptive-net.com or call 661-241-0638 today.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at radiodirect.com/privacy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Text help for help. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
You've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications that are all over the news, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie, and if you qualify, you can get medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1s at 80 to 90% savings without insurance, all 100% online.
Wait, I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No long wait at the doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, for 80 to 90% less and shipped direct to your door.
Amazing. How do I get started?
Just send them a text.
Text SLIM to 797979 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less, 100% online. Don't wait. Text SLIM to 797979 right now for your exclusive offer. Text SLIM to 797979. That's SLIM to 797979.
These statements and products have not been evaluated or approved by the FDA for weight loss.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Joe?
I started a woodworking business. I was able to build beautiful furniture, but had no handle on the business side of things, so quickly fell behind in my taxes. 1 year of being behind in taxes quickly turned into 5 years. I ended up owing almost $37,000.
Then Joe found Tax Relief Advocates.
I would hear ads for tax relief advocates. One day it just clicked. This is my exact situation that I'm in. So I wrote down the number and called from the car when I got home that day TRA saved me 99% of what I owed the IRS, and that brought a huge sense of relief.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Joe did and call TRA for a consultation.
I'm really happy that I made that call, and I finally felt like I could breathe again.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-484-4743. 800-484-4743. That's 800-484-4743.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 90.
I know about the legal system and the ins and outs of law in my ear. But having said that, I still have an opinion on the Mangione case, where they were in court today, and I'm reading from the New York Times. Prosecutors are expected to call more than 24 witnesses involved in the bust in December 2024. Remember when they caught up with Mangione at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Never been there, but it's a constant screenwriter's illusion. For some reason, there's always in a movie, somebody's from Altoona, Pennsylvania. Executing the head of healthcare giant, Brian. Okay. The hearing will probe whether police breached Mangione's rights by questioning him and searching his backpack before getting a warrant. If Judge Gregory Camp sides with the defense, he could deal Manhattan prosecutors a, quote, devastating blow by barring them from showing jurors the key evidence cops found inside the backpack, including the alleged murder weapon, a notebook in which Mangione reportedly explained his motive, a silencer, and I think that's about it. Again, you could feel what I know about the law in my left ear, as many of the attorneys who listen will tell you. However, having said that, even an idiot like me knows there's no way in the world a judge is going to get in the way of cops searching a wanton killer. You hear what I'm saying? Yes, there's the Fourth Amendment, search and seizure, and there's the Fifth Amendment that they're alleging that they violated as well. But the first priority of a police officer who comes in contact with a suspected killer is to make sure he's not armed. And that's their entire defense. We believe this guy traveled hundreds of miles to New York City so he could ambush this healthcare worker walking the streets of New York early in the morning. We don't know if he's got a gun. We don't know if he's got a knife. That's a joke, but anyway, it's an old racist Mexican joke. Anyway, or if there's a bomb in the backpack, they have a responsibility to protect everybody that was in that Altoona McDonald's. So there's no way a judge is going to get involved and say, the next time police officers come in contact with an alleged killer, you got to go to a judge and get a warrant and then come back and search him. That's crazy. There's no judge. Even that woman that let, what's his name out, there's no judge in America that's going to say, nope, sorry. When you find somebody who's suspected of killing people, you got to go to a judge and get a warrant. No way in the world. They had a responsibility to search him and everything that he had on him. And the reason they want this out, the defense, is because it's all but a confession, where the notes, I think, are more devastating to Mangione than the weapon. As crazy as that may sound, because the notes where he says somebody should whack the CEO, and he basically confesses. He essentially illustrates his obsession with this man to the point where he would travel across the country to ferret him out, just like this Afghan refugee who was living up in Washington State and traveled across the continent to find his victims in our nation's capital. There's no way in God's green earth, and it's just a defense tactic. Let's try to get all this evidence thrown out. But again, as I said at the top of the show, the most amazing thing about this whole incident is the fact that there are American citizens who are rooting this man on, who are digging in their pockets. We always talk about how much of the country lives check to check, and these people are going into their checking account and sending an alleged killer money. And there were men and women, and you should read the coverage. The media is just as culpable, if you ask me. You read the first 3 paragraphs of the New York Post story, they don't even get to the charges until the 4th. Let me just give you an example. Maybe I can pull it up real quick, where they talk about how he was just, Luigi Mangione came into court today dressed in a suit and boop, 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 boop. And he sat down in his checkered shirt and his Oxford shoes and boop, boop, boop. And then they get into the 6,000 letters that he's received, the $1.5 million he's got on his books. They don't even get to the case until about the 3rd or 4th. Oh, and by the way, he's on trial or going to be on trial for boop, 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 boop. But this New York Post story, they talk about Mangione like he was a celebrity, literally. Let me see if I can pull this up and just read the first couple of paragraphs for you. Olivia Nunn, the New York release, Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's on the front page. How funny is that? Travis Barker. I can't find it. Venezuela, Trump. Isn't that weird how stories disappear? Oh, here it is. Hamburger helper. Listen to these first couple of paragraphs. Luigi Mangione's busty eyebrows were the only thing the customers and workers at a Pennsylvania McDonald's could see over his face mask, but they were apparently enough. It surfaced in court Monday. Eagle-eyed patrons at the Altoona fast food joint recognized Mangione's eyebrows as those of a suspected killer in New York City and urged the McDonald's manager to call the cops. This is a different story that I read earlier this morning, but it still hadn't even got to the charges. It's not really an emergency, but I have a customer here that some other customers were suspicious of, that he looks like the CEO shooter from New York. That's not the same story I read. The staffer told the emergency, still haven't gotten to the charges and why he was in court. They're talking about how they recognized him and boop, 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 boop. And 2 officers arrived minutes later. I mean, they still haven't gotten to the charges. They're still just talking about how he was arrested. But again, I don't know much about the law, but there's no way that a judge can interfere with what police officers have to do just to protect themselves when coming in contact with a wanted killer. In other words, imagine this. Chris and I rob a bank and we're on the loose and somebody made our vehicle and got the license plate and we're speeding down the 99 and the cops pull us over. You're telling me that a judge is going to say, before you investigate their car, you got to go back to Kern County and get a warrant to search these people. That's insane. Maybe there's a difference. If you're an attorney, feel free to call in and tighten me up, but I don't see any difference. Think about that scenario. Well, we caught the guys that we believe did this, but we're not going to search them for fear that it'll get thrown out because we don't have a warrant. Come on. It was their duty to search him. If he'll shoot somebody in the back early in the morning, what the hell do you think he'd do once he's cornered in a McDonald's? And what if there was a bomb in the backpack? Well, I mean, I am applauding what those Pennsylvania officers did, and no way a judge throws any of that evidence out. We head into the 5. Lane Kiffin is the most hated man in sports. I'll tell you why when we come back.
This is
is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A winter storm is heading up the East Coast. Meteorologist Rich Otto with the National Weather Service says areas above Pennsylvania will see the most snow from the coming storm.
Now, for the interior locations, so generally from northeast Pennsylvania, upstate New York, the Catskills, into central New England, there could be a period of heavy snow with snowfall rates over an inch in an hour at times, and this will be occurring generally during the afternoon and evening hours across the Northeast. But the storm system will be moving fast, and by Wednesday morning, it will be clear in the area. So the impacts will be diminished in terms of time. So expectations are for 6 to 10 inches.
8 inches of snow was reported at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, a record for this day. First Lady Melania Trump has decorated the White House for the holidays, and her theme is Home is Where the Heart Is. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The First Lady unveiled the Christmas decor after several volunteer decorators from across the country helped deck the halls of the Executive Mansion over the past week. This year, there are 51 Christmas trees on display, plus 75 wreaths, more than 2,000 strands of lights, and over 25,000 feet of ribbon. Public tours this holiday season will be shorter than in past years because the East Wing was demolished to make way for a new ballroom,
They'll
which
give
is
them a hard
under
time and they'll blow it in
construction.
the end.
Greg Clugston, the White House.
The White House says a Navy admiral ordered a second strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean Sea and insists the September attack that has come under bipartisan scrutiny was lawful. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 427 points, the Nasdaq dropped 89, the S&P lower by 36. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everyone is watching major movements ripple through the markets these days, sparked by new policy shifts out of Washington and activity from the Federal Reserve. Americans have faced uncertainty before, and every time we've found our footing again. The real secret to long-term financial peace is simple. Keep your eyes on the horizon and understand the fundamentals that drive real stability. That's exactly why Advantage Gold is inviting you to call 800-741-GOLD right now. We'll send you a free Gold IRA rollover kit, along with a complimentary copy of economist Ken Rogoff's insightful book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Inside, you'll learn how to defend your retirement savings against inflation, market swings, and reckless fiscal policies with tangible assets like precious metals that have preserved wealth for centuries. It's no wonder Advantage Gold has been America's #1 gold company for the past decade. Take a smart step toward protecting what you've earned. Call 800-741-GOLD. That's 800-741-4653. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A man killed by police when he got out and shot at them. I'm Chris Davis. That happened after the Wasco Police and the Highway Patrol had been chasing that man this morning on Highway 99, and after CHP helped by putting out spike strips to stop that person from going any further or endangering any more people. When the tires blew, the man pulled over on Highway 99 at Bear Mountain Road, got out, drew his gun, and fired, say police. They shot back. Officers tended to him and tried to save his life, but the guy didn't make it. His name has not yet been made public. It appears that Maya Hernandez will finally be facing trial on first-degree murder charges for the death of her 1-year-old son, Emilio Gutierrez, who died this June when Hernandez left him and 2 other small kids in her car while she went in a spa to get lip filler treatments. Hernandez was assigned a courtroom today. Her trial had been delayed several times because there wasn't enough space for it. If you've been following the story about a 1-car rollover wreck on East White Lane that happened Saturday night just after 10:30, police now say they believe that alcohol was likely a factor in that wreck. Initial info is that they didn't know yet. They now say the driver, who was thrown out as his car rolled and went through a fence, is critical but stable at Kern Medical. No arrest has been announced. You may want to write down or commit 6 p.m. Wednesday to memory. That's when you will be able to publicly voice your opinion about the possible increase in what you pay for sewer in Bakersfield.
It depends.
The
For
city
lunch,
held a virtual
I get
meeting a couple of weeks ago, but this
For
one is
dinner, I
at the
get the
Kern
big
City
one.
Civic Association and is in person. The rate increase would help pay for some wastewater improvements.
$4.51 is the average price for gas in California. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you
think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suits.
I get extra avocado.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday, first day of December. 2025 about to be in the rearview mirror. I would give 2025 personally for Ralph Emerson Bailey Jr. Give it a B-. Wasn't a bad year. Got off to a really good start, but these last couple of months have been a little difficult. Mom and her health is an issue. And just some other things that just, life, But overall, it was an above average year. The show is doing well. My work at Kern Community College District is going. I'm still a role player over there, trying to help them get their message out. In fact, they've got a big illustration going on later this week. We're going to try to get a guest on from Bakersfield College, their Dreamscape immersion program. I'll tell you about that, even if we don't get a guest. But as we come to a close, what would you give your year, Mr. Burdick? Start of your new show, so I would think it would be a pretty damn big year for you.
It has been a big year for me. It's been an eventful year for me as well, because I had the car accident and all this other type of stuff too.
And been to how many Raider games now?
Yeah, no, I'd give it a pretty solid A-.
Really?
I always gotta wait to see how the taxes come out at the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
But right now I'm sitting at about a B+, A-, somewhere in that area.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Meantime, for Lane Kiffin, I don't know what kind of year you'd give it for him. He was on track to put the Ole Miss program on the map for the first time since Eli Manning, maybe for the first time since Archie Manning, and walked out on his players, just absolutely walked out. Although he didn't think he was walking out. He honestly believed that with, a month left in the program, and Ole Miss clearly going to be in the playoff situation now that they've expanded it, and they're 9-3, so they were going to get in even without the expansion, most likely. Well, maybe not now with 3 losses, but they're going to be in. They're going to have a run at the national championship, and they're not one of the top level teams, but you get on a roll, you never know. But as I talked about at the top of the show, you got to understand how recruiting works, how these coaches get players to leave their home and come to Louisiana. You go into the home and you've already got the child on the hook. But the way you get them to come to your school is to approach the mother or the mother and the father. And most coaches do it with a speech, not that I've ever heard it, because nobody came looking for me as an athlete, boy, I'll tell you that. But, I'm going to take care of your son or your daughter. I'm going to make sure they get their education. I'm going to watch them mature and be a mentor to their maturation process, because college is a huge experience in terms of the maturation process, where you begin to find out who you are, what you want in life, where you think you're going to go, what you want to do with your life, et cetera, et cetera. And you've got to sell that to these parents, and they buy in, and they think you're going to take care of their son. Isaiah Thomas, just funny. I'm getting off the road, obviously, but I just saw him in what is it again? All the Smoke.
Yes.
All the Smoke.
All the Smoke
With Steven Jackson and Matt
you
Barnes.
had it that time, actually.
I just saw it this weekend. A couple of former NBA players who have a really great podcast going on. And they had Isaiah Thomas on. And Thomas talked about his experience with Bobby Knight. He's an Indiana grad, is Mr. Thomas, actually a graduate, because Bobby Knight was big, as much of a POS as Bobby Knight ended up being. The one thing that I've always congratulated him on and always admired him on is he believed that his players should go to class and get their education. And so Isaiah is like the baby of the family, and he has a bunch of brothers. And he's telling the story that one of his older brothers was there when Bobby came to the house. Bobby came with Wayne Embry, who you have to know a lot about basketball or know a lot about black folks, know who Wayne Embry is. He's one of the pioneers in the NBA, one of the first, if not the single first black general manager, and I believe is an IU grad or a good friend of Bobby Knight's, and Quinn Buckner, who didn't lose a game in high school and was part of the undefeated team that won a national championship in '76 with Bobby Knight. So he's walking in to the Thomas house with, at the time in the 70s, two legitimate superstars within the black community. And they asked him, the family was concerned because the Klan, believe it or not, is centered in Indianapolis. And some say it was born in Indiana. And so the family was concerned about that. And Mr. Knight, I don't know whether he was trying to joke or just be rudely blunt, but he said, well, if we're winning, they'll protect him. If we're losing, that could be a problem. Well, most of the family laughed, including Isaiah's mother. But his older brother had a couple cocktails before Mr. Knight arrived. And he said, my brothers, they're a little hard. They're a little ghetto. So one of my brothers was like, man, that ain't funny. We're sending Junior down to Indiana. You're supposed to take care of him. And there were words exchanged. And the older brother was like, hey, Bobby, we can take this outside if you want to. And Isaiah said, Bobby Knight was probably in his 50s at the time. He said he stood up, took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and said, let's go. And Isaiah said, I looked over at my mother, and she wasn't getting involved. She just kind of shook her head. And he said, I knew right then I was going to Indiana. Because despite what my brother's doing, because everybody's like, all right, calm down, Don. Calm down. Nobody's going to be fighting outside. My mother kind of liked the fact that Bobby stood up and was willing to get his ass kicked, because he would. And then he went on. He said, Bobby doesn't understand the streets. Had Bobby gone outside that day, he'd have never come back in the house. He thought he was just going up against my brother. Nah, he'd have never come back in the house. They'd all jumped his ass. They'd still be beating his ass right now. But it was just funny that is the process, that you've got to go in and convince the family you're going to take care of this kid. And that's what Lane Kiffin did. And then when it really came down to it, he walked out on them when they needed him most. When they, you go and dream, because you figure on a team like that, maybe 15, maybe 20 guys really have a legitimate chance of making a living on the NFL level. So the middle of the road guys realize, this is my Super Bowl. When this is over, and hopefully I get my degree, I'm going to be teaching PE at my alma mater or whatever, selling shoes, whatever. This is my Super Bowl. This is my opportunity to go ring. And this guy just walks out on him, as he's done throughout his entire career. Like I said, he started as an offensive coordinator at SC. Then for whatever reason, because Mr. Davis was old and had lost his fastball and lost all type of vision that used to dominate the NFL. In fact, as some of you know, Mr. Davis is almost personally responsible for the National Football League, because before the war of the 60s, there was the AFC and the NFC. They were completely different leagues. And Pete Rozelle came up with the idea of the Super Bowl, where the two leagues would come together. Well, it was Mr. Davis who came up with the idea of, let's just go get their stars, and it will force a coming together. And the big one, of course, was who was the real big first AFC signing that everybody was like, holy crap.
Namath? Was it
Joe Namath?
Yeah.
Nicely done. Joe Namath. When they went down to Alabama, and Sonny Worthington, who was a big-time movie agent, entertainment agent, gave Joe Namath $400,000 in 1968. It was on like Donkey Kong. And Mr. Davis was like, guerrilla warfare. Let's go after their stars. It'll force them to the table, and we'll be one league again, and it'll be the NFL. And then what does Namath do? I believe in his second year, guarantees that they're going to beat one of the stalwarts of the NFC, the Baltimore Colts, led by Don Shula and Johnny Unitas. Are you kidding me? And he goes on and wins? Are you kidding? And that brought them to the table and created the National Football League and the Super Bowl. And that guy with that kind of vision just lost it. I present you Jamarcus Russell as the #1 draft pick. And Lane Kiffin gets hired by the Raiders. And it was a horrible relationship where Mr. Davis called him a liar and a snake. And that was the only vision that Mr. Davis had, because he was exactly right. Then he went to Tennessee, University of in Knoxville. And as I mentioned, Tennessean reporters, that's the Nashville paper, will tell you that Lane Kiffin did more to damage the UT program than any single person in the history of the college. That students were burning Kiffin in effigy, and there was kind of not rioting, but just kind of demonstrations on campus. He had walked out on him. Then he went back to SC as a head coach. That didn't work out. Then went back to Alabama as an OC under Nick Saban. Then went down to Florida and coached FAU, and that's when he got on the map, because that's not a very good program, and he really uplifted it. And then he went to Ole Miss and walked out on them. And why anybody would hire this guy for $91 million over 7 years, who that can hear my voice actually believes that in what, 2032, he's going to still be in Mississippi, or excuse me, Louisiana. Ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way in the world. And it's just a slime ball. The way he left, he was complaining. In fact, we've got some audio. Let's listen to Mr. Kiffin.
Very challenging, difficult day. You know, we went through a lot last night with Keith Carter, trying to figure out a way, you know, to make this playoff, you know, run work, and be able to coach the team. And at the end of the day, that's his decision, and I totally respect that. I understand that decision, and you know, so I just totally wish the team the best of luck. Wish that I was coaching, but understand that it was a very challenging position for him and the Chancellor to be in, and totally respect that. So, you know, just really hope they play really well and go win the national championship.
What drew this decision out so long?
Just, it was really difficult. This has been a really special place.
No, okay, I don't need to hear any more of that. Do you see what a goofball this guy is when it really comes down to like common sense? That he actually thought that the university would let him, as an LSU employee, essentially, work for Ole Miss this last month, which would give him access to their players. Because if they had allowed him to continue to coach, and again, you know how I make these speculations? Again, I wonder what Ralph Bailey would do. And if I got another job at another station and they let me stay here for 3 months, you know what I would be doing? Hey, JR, why don't you come with me at this new station? Chris, you know, I got a gig over at this new station as a producer. Why don't you come along with me and go along? It's exactly what he would have done. He would have tried to recruit the best players that he still had a relationship with. He would have done what he did and give his coaches a ultimatum where he told his staff, either get on the plane with me Saturday to Louisiana or you're not on my staff. And a couple of them, including Charlie Weiss's kid, Charlie Weiss Jr., Charlie Weiss, who was Belichick's guru offensive coordinator at New England, then tried to get big and go to Notre Dame. That didn't work out. We haven't heard from him since. But his son is also apparently offensive genius. He gets on the plane. The students were lined up along the fences, booing him, calling Kiffin a hoe, calling Weiss names as they got on this private jet off to Baton Rouge. It's just wrong. I get it. More money, better job, closer to a national championship at LSU than you would be at Ole Miss. Let's be blunt. But it's just, like I said, and like we always say, it's never the mistake you make, it's how you handle it. And had he just gone to the LSU people and just said, you got to wait until I'm done. You got to wait till I'm done. And maybe you say, well, Ralph, if he'd done that, maybe they would have hired somebody else. No, they wouldn't have.
I wouldn't have.
They wanted Kiffin. They wouldn't have given him $91 million if they didn't want Lane Kiffin. He could have easily told them, let's keep this on the DL. I'm only going to meet with the 2 highest people. Let's keep this on the DL. Let me coach my guys. Let them get them through this thing. I can't walk out on them at this pinnacle of their senior years. I can't do it. Give me some time. Nope. He said, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Because they're going to let me coach. I'm going to finish coaching. You heard the audio. Oh, they're going to let me coach. And then he's like shocked, like, what? You're not going to let me pilfer your players and continue to coach, even though I don't even technically work here anymore? What? I'm shocked. But I respect it. Oh, I respect it. Same thing happened to me when I was in television. McGraw-Hill used to own Channel 23. They no longer do. And in their contracts, they had what was called a 3-month window. When you were approaching the end of your contract, up to the 3 months, you could buy out. Or they could tell you at the 3-month period, we're not re-signing you. They came to me 3 months before the end of my contract and told me, Ralph, we're not re-signing you. Dumb luck. 29 anchor, a guy named Dave, I can't remember his last name, gets a job in Dallas. I didn't even have to interview. I didn't have to even send it. I had the interview. I didn't have to send a tape. Kevin Andrews was the news director. He says, Ralph, I've seen you. I know what you can do. Just come in and interview, take a drug test, put a bop, put a bip, put a boop, and you get a gig. Mike Try was the assistant news director at the time, and Mike and I would bump heads about affirmative action and racial profiling, and we weren't as close as we are now. I consider him a very good friend and a mentor journalistically, but we would butt heads. So every now and again, just to piss him off, I would wear a shiny 29 jacket to the morning meetings at Channel 23. And Mike would just look up and be like, are you serious? Are you serious, Ralph? What are you going to do, Mike? Fire me? I can leave right now if you want me to. Yeah, I was kind of a jerk back then. But obviously not that big a jerk because they rehired me to do a 2-minute editorial for about 2.5 years. Well, it couldn't have been that bad, but just don't make no sense. This guy thought he could leave, get another job, and keep his current job. He's just, and he's not that great a coach. Yes, he's changed programs, and yes, he's got a great offensive mind, but I'd take his daddy, Monty Kiffin. Remember him? Big defensive coordinator throughout the NFL. Quick timeout, not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour. It's a cold first day of the final month of the year. And you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the JR Show.
So it looks like Prop 50 is going to pass. That's fine. I respect the process. I might not agree with the outcome, but I at least respect the process. The problem is Democrats still have to win elections next year. They couldn't flip Valadeo's seat, and that district has been Democrat for a long time. So this isn't over. They might have won Prop 50, but they still need voter turnout, which is a problem for them, and they still need to win congressional races.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
family, and tradition. They go hand in hand, especially during the holidays. For almost 50 years, parents, kids, and grandparents have been coming to Alpine Christmas trees to find a fresh cut, beautiful, and fragrant Christmas tree. From the family farms of Oregon, Alpine still brings you the very best. Douglas, Noble, Grand, and Nordman firs, all hand-selected to make your holiday bright. And this year, Alpine has beautiful trees up to 8 feet for only $69.95. Perfect for making your home feel like Christmas. We provide a variety of fresh-cut Christmas trees to Bakersfield families throughout the holiday season, keeping traditions alive year after year. Visit one of our 3 convenient locations, 2312 Weibel Road at Wilson, 4000 White Lane, and Olive Drive in Roberts Lane next to Sonic. Alpine Christmas trees, a family tradition for 48 years. Look for the Alpine banner. If it doesn't say Alpine, it isn't Alpine Fresh.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus installed over 1 million square feet of flooring last year alone. Over 20 years of Bakersfield's best flooring store means you can trust us with your hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and of course, carpet. Come in today to see over 100 waterproof floors from our in-stock inventory. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Your free in-home estimate is waiting for you. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Vance Furtado.
Hi, my name is Vance Furtado, and I saw Paul Sheldon's advertising, and my wife and I were going to need to begin Medicare very soon, and we thought he would be a great guy to talk to. And we were not disappointed. He and his staff were excellent. They provided much needed guidance for us, and we would recommend Paul Sheldon and his agency to anyone desiring help when it comes to figuring out the confusing world of Medicare. Medicare can be so terribly confusing. That's why my wife and I were so glad that we went to Paul Sheldon. He and his staff were incredibly helpful to us. So I would recommend Paul and his agency to anyone. Thank you, Paul, for all the help that you provided, giving us an excellent sense and direction of how best to satisfy our needs when it comes to Medicare.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
12 till the party really starts, and I always had to be home by 10. Right before the fun was about to begin.
There is something white in my house that I continue to bump into. Okay, remember the white thing that was at the base of my jacket?
Yeah.
Okay, I wiped that off.
Okay.
And then I just took my jacket off, and look at that. It's the same white stuff that is now on my shoulder. And I have no idea what that is.
But you set the jacket down anywhere before you put it on?
Have we met?
I mean, that's why I'm asking.
I throw it over the couch as soon as I walk in the door.
I would check the couch.
Clearly, something. I don't know what it is, but what white could be on my damn couch? I don't know what this is. 842-537-6. Only got a couple of minutes. What do you got on the board?
Careful reading the New York Post, Ralph. Remember last week when you learned about the Ryan Mallett dying?
True that. Well, they were accurate. They got it right. I just, I don't know. I don't know how I still haven't figured out how that appeared and how I didn't recognize the name and remember that the boy.
That was also very well.
Yeah, and Facebook is a wonderful thing for a number of reasons, but it's unfortunate that it allows people to communicate with me that I may not necessarily want to communicate with, or people that I like, but I'm sitting at home on a Saturday and I've got 3 or 4 Facebook messages. Hey, Ralph, Count Basie died. Hey, Ralph, OJ's dead. hey, Ralph, Groucho Marx died. I'm like, okay, I get it, y'all. Thank you. Last half hour of the broadcast.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Call Coconut Joe's.
With SRN News.
No Casey Steakhouse,
Peters
no
in Washington. Donald Trump's doctor says the president
no
had
messmaker, no
MRI
Casey
imaging on
Steakhouse.
his heart and abdomen in October as part of a preventative screen.
Casey's is done.
Casey's is done for the year. Messmaker was early. I think it played itself.
You just ran it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make an order for delivery. All right, to go.
Barbabella concluded that the cardiovascular and abdominal imaging was
No,
perfectly
to go.
normal.
To go. I meant to go.
Black ice, snow showers, and fog are pestering post-holiday travelers in the Midwest, while the Northeast is gearing up for its first major snowstorm.
A couple of salsas
season.
and no bread.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 427 points, the Nasdaq dropped 89, the S&P lower by 36 points. More details at srnnews.com.
I'll be there.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm sorry?
From the KERN newsroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Your live and local news update on News
Thank
Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. The man shot at officers and officers shot back, killing him. That's what California Highway Patrol and Wasco police are saying about an incident this morning where they were chasing that man's vehicle along Highway 99 and used spike strips to stop it at Bear Mountain Road, which is where the shooting happened. The woman who police say left her 1-year-old son in a hot car this summer, killing him, may go to trial this week after several delays. The judge has assigned a courtroom for Maya Hernandez. The trial is expected to take several weeks. You are being invited to serve on the Kern County Grand Jury if you have lived here at least a year, are 18, and a U.S. citizen interested in public service. They are taking applications through March 13th. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with the news every half hour or when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm here with Dr. Tarkesh from Affordable Dentures and Implants.
Doc,
do people often think dental implants are a one-size-fits-all solution? Can you explain what dental implants are and how they benefit patients?
Yes. Dental implants are a permanent solution for missing teeth. They act like natural tooth roots and support crown, bridges, or dentures. Unlike traditional dentures, implants provide a secure fit.
And they just played a little better. Could have been in the ballgame. They gave up a punt return.
Smile confidently without worrying
about fumbled the punt return.
Well, you know, many people are concerned about the pain involved with dental procedures.
Some people have a more complex situation or have what we call dental phobia. If so, we offer IV sedation that allows patients to relax completely during their
That's why I used to like your boys.
making it a stress-free experience.
At Affordable Dentures and Implants, Dr. Nozar Tarkesh, who specializes in implants with IV sedation. Visit them online at affordabledentures.com or call 831-7230 to schedule your appointment today.
Go ahead and smile.
Wildcat. They tried to do a Wildcat
Day right. First look with
and
Scott
the kid
Cox,
fumbled.
6 to 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, it's
And the
National
kid
Day of
fumbled it
Giving.
on
We'll
4th
talk
and
water
1.
with the best in the business. That's Lois Henry from
Like,
sjvwater.org. Steve Sanders will be
game
here
was
from Calm to
closer
talk
than it
about the
actually
holiday
was.
lights. It's all happening 6 to 9
Like I
a.m.
said, they
right here at
fumbled,
News
they
Talk
gave up punt
96.1,
They
streaming live on
fumbled
the
the
internet,
punt return on like
kernradio.com.
First look with
When
Scott
Riker was
Cox, 6
fucking
to
on.
9 a.m. News Talk
And then that
96.1
4th and
and
1.
AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2.
No, he
on
was
News Talk
okay. He just wasn't good.
96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I saw on the reels a really good interview, guys. I'm talking to old people now, like really old people, like people my age. There was a show called Tomorrow, which was obviously an offshoot of the Today Show. It followed Johnny Carson at 1 a.m., and it was hosted by a man by the name of Tom Snyder, who is from my mother's hometown of Savannah, Georgia. And he was a former KNBC. I grew up with him. He was an anchor on the NBC affiliate in Los Angeles. and then he got the Tomorrow Show. And he was a great interview. It was back in the day when they could smoke on set like Johnny used to. He would smoke during his interviews. And he did an interview the weekend before, or no, it was the Friday before the initial cast of Saturday Night Live was to debut. And it's a young Lorne Michaels. And obviously, I mean, this is what, 50 years ago. So everybody's young. I know that was stupid to say, but it's Lorne Michaels and the original cast: Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, the late Gilda Radner, Jane Curtin, Phyllis Newman. I think that was Jane Newman, Phyllis Newman. The woman that always get eaten by the shark. I can't remember. I think something. No, Lori Newman. I can't remember. Leslie Newman. It was something Newman. Anyway, and it's the original cast. Belushi. It's the original cast. And it was just a great interview. It was dominated by Chevy Chase, who clearly, according to most folks that worked with him, had the biggest ego of them all. Lorraine Newman.
I was trying to figure out how to pronounce her name, but you're
Lorraine Newman. And it was just a really cool interview. And it was just interesting to hear Lorne Michaels 50 years ago talk about what the show was going to be about. And coming to find out, the show was nothing like he described it. He described it as being a bunch of a lot of ad lib and a lot of this boo boo, and that's anything but the case. If you've ever watched Saturday Night Live, which I'm sure all of you have at some point, they're reading cue cards. If you notice when they talk with one another, like if this is the person that they're talking to, they're like talking to them like this off to the side, where they're reading the cue cards. So no, it's completely and totally scripted. And it's amazing that it's lasted as long as it has. It went through a really bad period about 10 years ago when all the regulars, Bill Murray was gone making movies and all the guys, and it was kind of an unknown cast. And I think Johansson's husband, what's his name? The guy that is with Michael Che, Colin Jost. I think that news segment helped save it a little bit. And they've got some decent people. Keenan, whatever his name is decent. Do you know he's the longest?
Kenan Thompson, yeah.
Longest surviving member ever. But yeah, after Eddie and all those guys left, it kind of dipped. By the way, has anybody seen the Eddie Murphy documentary on Netflix? All About Eddie or something like that?
I put it on my list. I haven't got a chance.
I know, me too. I haven't even. I'm paying $12.99 a month for Paramount, and I still haven't finished episode 2 of season 1. Ooh, big hit along the sidelines, and now there's a fight. Ooh, a huge fight along the sidelines, but it's a typical fight. A lot of pushing, not anything really going on. But I think that was Jackson Dart that got hit.
That's probably why they're
along the
freaking out. 'Cause
sidelines.
The kids had like 6 brushes with concussion protocol.
He just got out of protocol. Jameis Winston started last week for him. He's scrambling. He's running along the sidelines, and he's in bounds. That is as clean as it gets. He is totally in bounds.
Yeah, but he is headed out of bounds.
I don't care if your feet's in bounds. You're in play. You are no. Look. Oh, he's totally in play. Sorry.
He bounced right up though. It's not like he's sitting there or laying there on the ground like hurt. That's
just
all.
Totally decleated him though.
Oh yeah,
that was a great shot. We see both of his feet in the midair, and his tight end had a problem with it. And then the lineman jumped in, and it's a bunch of grabbing and. Did you hear the funk going on in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Where
Aaron blaming the receiver.
No. I'm not even talking about that. Because he took some responsibility. He said he missed some throws. Where what you're talking about is Aaron Brockovich went on podcasts or whatever and said that his receivers need to start showing up to the film meetings.
Yeah, that was post game. That was in the locker room. I think.
Yeah. It's like wow. But no, what were we talking about? We were talking about Who's the big lineman for Pittsburgh whose son?
Cam Hayward.
Cam Hayward complaining that Josh Allen kicked him in the stomach.
Yeah, need him.
And they were like, oh, was it on purpose? He said, hell yeah, it was on purpose. He even told me. He said, I had to figure out some way to get you off me because they were jawing at it a little bit, just a little bit.
To be honest with you, I think that's just part of football. You're going to have to deal with that one.
And the other one that we found out about, who's 15 for the Washington Redskins? Remember the fight that he got in when he punched the kid in the face?
You talking about the 49ers, Jawan Jennings?
Oh, was it 49ers? Yes, you're right. It was 49ers.
When they got punched in the private area the other day?
Yeah.
And him
one of his fellow players, and see, with AI, I'm almost hesitant to talk about this live, but he called him out and said that he talked about one of their other players in a way you should never talk about another player. So he obviously said something about his wife or his kids or his mother. And he said, I'm surprised that that's all that the guy did was kick him in the balls. And that was one of his own players. That's harsh when your own players throw you on the bus. What do you got on the board?
Let's see. I agree with you, or with your view on the Washington Post article. First of all, not sure how liberal it is. It's owned by Jeff Bezos, but regardless of political leanings, you can bet your bottom dollar that before publishing, the journalists are verifying and trusting their sources now more than ever, or they will be going to get, or they are going to get fired and sued.
Sued is the big point. I don't know if they get fired, but they get sued. They've already paid. The Washington Post had to pay Mr. Trump money. Who else had? I think ABC had to give him $16 million. What Stephanopoulos said. You're absolutely right. With this Department of Justice and this president, if you're in the media business and you're talking about Trump, you better get it right. You better have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, because he obviously doesn't have a problem coming after you. You heard him. We played you the audio last week when he got into it with an ABC reporter and claimed that the FCC should be looking into taking ABC's license away. Yeah, this is no time to get it wrong. And as a former journalist, I'm betting on the Washington Post. And you're right, Bezos is a conservative and he's the owner. So is Katharine Graham. But that doesn't stop the reporters who are overwhelming, the reporters, and most importantly, the editors who are incredibly liberal, going all the way back to Ben Bradley, who was a great managing editor, but was almost family with the Kennedys. And that's what Nixon and all the Republicans used when the Washington Post was killing Nixon during Watergate. By the way, I did miss the ABC special that I warned you guys about, Who Killed JFK, but I saw another one over the weekend, and this one claims there's some tie to Watergate to the Kennedy killing. I don't have time to get into it in depth, but essentially they're saying what nobody's really asked about Watergate is why the hell they did it. There was Ralph Bailey, who at the time was 10 years old, had a better chance of beating Richard Nixon than Mr. McGovern. And in fact, Nixon would go on in 72, at that time, the greatest landslide in the history of this country. No president had won bigger than Richard Nixon in 1972. Reagan would go on and destroy that when he beat up on Walter Mondale and won 49 of 50 states. But nobody had won, because I think he had only won his home state, McGovern. So the question is, why would they bug the DNC when you're about to go on and win gargantuanly? Now, that's one of my obsessions, Watergate. And I don't think Nixon planned it. I don't think Nixon knew about it. I think when it got in trouble, they had to go to him and tell him. And again, it wasn't the mistake they made. It was how he handled it. Nixon should have whacked everybody involved and walked away. But instead, he tried to cover it up. So there's a new conspiracy theory that says that Nixon knew who killed Kennedy And that's why they broke into the DNC, because a man by the name of Lawrence O'Brien, who if you Google, you'll find out would later become the NBA commissioner, had connections to the Kennedy family and was somehow going to implicate Nixon, or it's a complicated thing. Maybe I'll bring it up sometime later in the week. But there's a whole new theory on not only Watergate, but its connection to the Kennedy family and the assassination, which, despite the release of all these documents and all these documentaries and all these different theories, we'll probably never know. I know that I did see a part of the ABC series that was on a week ago, tonight. And the biggest conclusion, and I hate to bore you with all this because I'm obsessed with it, but the thing that put me over the top is the magic bullet. The bullet that initially went through Kennedy's neck, where you see him going like this, and Jackie could have saved his life, if you ask me, but she didn't know what was going on. She just grabbed him and ducked down, but, milliseconds, who knows. But he's clearly shot before the headshot. And they are insisting that the bullet went through his neck, through his bow tie, through his tie, through the seat, and ended up in either the elbow or the wrist of then Democratic Governor John Connally, who would later become a Republican. And there's some guy who did angles and said it all makes sense. It was actually a straight line because when the shot rang, Connally turned, and that's how it went through this and this and this. But then the bullet shows up mysteriously on a gurney at Parkland Hospital, and it's absolutely pristine. And even in the ABC documentary that was on a week ago, they tested 100 bullets, and they put it through one bone. Each shot would go through one bone. This one went through several. Went through the president's neck, out through the back seat of the car, and into the bone of John Connally. Perfectly pristine. It looked like a brand new bullet. In the 100 tests of bullets through one bone, not through two different men and the back seat of a Lincoln, every bullet was damaged on the head of the bullet. All 100. The head of the bullet was damaged. 100 out of 100. And yet the bullet that went through the man's neck, through the back seat of the car, and ended up in Connally's elbow or wrist, shattering that, was absolutely perfect. Come on, y'all. Get on board. Join me. It's a nice run. Put on that tin hat. Join a brother. Come on. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the night. Tomorrow's a Tuesday. Uh-oh. Please stand by. I'm pretty sure we are without Teresa Golden. Please stand by. Gone on November 25th and December 2nd, but I'll be available by phone those days if that works for you. I'll be back in person for your show on December 9th. So we will talk with her via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. The Charlie Kirk Show at the top of the hour. By the way, I didn't have time, and well, I did have time, but I wanted to focus on some other things. But Joy Reid has hit an all-time low. Have you heard the audio she had about Erica Kirk?
Mm-mm.
It is astonishing what an evil, despicable, god-awful woman this is. She gets into a discussion with these two influencers, just Joy Reid, about Erica Kirk and about how she's not dressing appropriately for a widow because she had on leather pants. And they were somehow saying that J.D. Vance is going to dump his brown wife for Erica Kirk. It's like, are you serious? Are you that low and disgusting? You're criticizing the way a woman's dressing because she just lost her husband? That's like 1890 stuff. when women would have to wear black for like a year and not be seen with another man for an extended period of time to show respect. That woman, Joy Reid, is just pure evil. Pure evil. I'll play it for you tomorrow. Along with Teresa Golden. Quick timeout, coming right back. Wrap this thing up on a Monday, first day of December. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KRN. We stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We got an election actually taking place in my congressional district. We'll talk about the latest as it will be the final preview we get before the midterms. Plus, Buck.
Looks like there's a ton of benefits fraud going on in Minneapolis among Somali American immigrants. We'll discuss the Democrat hand in all of this on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN.
The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026. This annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust. Select Kern Family Healthcare Medicare, DSNP, a new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal. Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too. Call 1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more and enroll. Start your Medicare journey with local care you trust. Choose Kern Family Healthcare. Kern Family Healthcare Medicare is an HMO DSNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the California Medicaid program. Enrollment in Kern Family Healthcare Medicare HMO DSNP depends on contract renewal.
Need cash fast? Tap into the value of your home with a home equity line of credit from Valley Strong Credit Union. Whether it's for home improvements, debt consolidation, or that dream vacation, you can get your cash offer in minutes. That's right, just minutes to unlock the power of your home's equity with no hard credit pull to see how much cash you can get. No stress, no waiting, just smart local banking that puts you first. Grow your possibilities with Valley Strong Credit Union. Visit valleystrong.com to get started today.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at radiodirect.com/privacy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Text help for help. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
You've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications that are all over the news, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie, and if you qualify, you can get medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1s at 80 to 90% savings without insurance, all 100% online.
Wait, I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No long wait at the doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, for 80 to 90% less and shipped direct to your door.
Amazing. How do I get started?
Just send them a text.
Text SLIM to 797979 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less, 100% online. Don't wait. Text SLIM to 797979 right now for your exclusive offer. Text SLIM to 797979. That's SLIM to 797979.
These statements and products have not been evaluated or approved by the FDA for weight loss.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th. So go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
You got Don Bacon?
United Healthcare Medicare
and the
plans.
president?
It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Wrapping up the show with one of our lead stories, Pete Hegseth is denying reports out of the Washington Post that he gave an order to strike a vessel that had already been struck. This is one of the 22 boats coming out of Venezuela that the Trump administration says is a huge, huge drug problem, which the whole argument is, I don't have a problem with it, let's be honest, but that's not the core of our problem. Our drug problem is fentanyl and opioids. That's the pandemic that is going on. And that comes out of Mexico via China. It's not coming from Venezuela. But all right, fine. You want to blow up a few drug dealers that would put a nick. Even if cocaine was our problem, they're not doing anything. But if in fact the Washington Post is correct, which is one of even our listeners pointed out, they're not going to roll the dice with a iffy story under this administration. They're just not. And they have two solid sources. Here is Republican Don Bacon from Nebraska on what he thinks.
We should get to the truth. I don't think he would be foolish enough to make this decision to say, kill everybody, kill the survivors, because that's a clear violation of the law of war.
It's a clear violation of the law of war. Remember the guy that started the show giggling at my argument that this guy is unqualified? Pete Hegseth. Even Bacon is like, I don't think he's that stupid. I think you're giving him too much credit. I think he is that stupid. He came up with this idea of Department of War. They haven't even been in office in a year. And Pete Hegseth is constantly denying something. I didn't say this. I didn't do this. I never got on a stage with strippers in a drunken stupor. No, I was never helped to my room, despite the fact that many of his Fox employees have said he was an out-of-control drunk. And not only an out-of-control drunk, but a bad drunk who once got on stage at a strip club and had to be escorted off by his colleagues. This guy is dishonest. He's not a good guy. And he's not qualified to lead the damn Pentagon or state. Here's what the president said aboard Air Force One.
Number one, I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about. So we'll look into it. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that. Not a second strike.
Even the president said, no, I wouldn't have done that. They clearly did it. And the State Department is trying to say that the second strike was based on the boat still being viable or something of that nature. Come on, give me a break. You all really don't think that Hegseth said kill them all? Really? You think the Post is making this up? You think the sources, the two different sources? Let me explain how a journalist ferrets out their sources. It's like how cops deal with witnesses. The first thing you do is you get them separate. You have to get, most editors want two diverse sources. In other words, it can't be a man and a wife who could collude and come up with a story and feed it to the Washington Post. It has to be two different people that are probably in two different departments that don't work together, that could not come together and create some story. And then you compare their stories. And believe me, at this high stakes, because I never was in the zip code of these high stakes, I worked for the Californian. And believe me, anytime I had something controversial, I double and triple check, just like I do when we break stories on this show. When I told you the new city manager was going to be our new city manager, I double and triple check that. Because the last thing I can do is say, this is about to happen and be wrong. My entire credibility is shot to hell. Well, this is on a different level. This is a newspaper that is dealing with the Department of Justice that will sue you for millions of dollars. And you honestly think that they made this up? That they didn't double and triple check and re-question their sources? Of course Hegseth said this. And of course Trump is going to defend him because he's Trump's lapdog. They all are. As I said, the only competent people in this cabinet are Witkoff, Kushner, who's not really a part of the cabinet, but is, Scott Beeson, that's Treasury Secretary, the rest of them, Bondi, Wormboy, Kennedy, Hegseth, bunch of knuckleheads that are constantly in the news somehow, some way. And the only person that in the administration that should be constantly in the news is, I don't know, the commander-in-chief. Want to thank Angela Barton for getting us Chad Bianco and Sheriff Donnie Youngblood to join us. Go back on YouTube if you missed the interview that we did with him. and Kathy Abernathy. Tomorrow, Teresa Golder. And what else happens before 3 o'clock? For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 11.
What now? Ooh, sweet.
I traded you a stock share.
And they're done.
Yeah, for the year.
What do I sign for? No. Oh, December's nothing. I was wondering why I didn't do a live today.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks. So now I'm up to, where am I now? Was this 2? So I'm up, oh yeah. I'm up to, I think I'm up to about 350.
Oh, down, you mean?
Yeah, because I've been a couple times. I saw like 3 World Series with Mike.
Dude, I'm like
4 bills?
Yeah.
I know, it's hard to fucking, do you use it every time you go? Oh, we're done. What am I doing? Oh, wait, another break. Swear to God. I'm losing my freaking mind. Ready? 3. What did we do today? 3, 2. I just don't think there's a chance in hell a judge is going to throw out any of the evidence the cops acquired on Luigi Mangione because they didn't give a warrant. It was their responsibility to search that man. He was a wanted killer. He was in a McDonald's. What if there had been a bomb in that backpack? No judge is going to get in the way of cops doing their job and save this alleged murderer. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. Well, we'll talk with Teresa Golder from her Brooklyn Heights apartment in New York City and have more on, I have no idea what's going on. What the hell's going on this week? 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. Well, we'll talk with our former federal magistrate judge, Teresa Golder, from her Brooklyn Heights apartment in New York City, and the latest on the Pete Hegseth controversy. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
A man killed by police when he got out and shot at them. I'm Chris Davis. That happened after the Wasco Police and the Highway Patrol had been chasing that man this morning on Highway 99, and after CHP helped by putting out spike strips to stop that person from going any further.